What's your water bottle, Kirklin?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 375th episode. Where I always get interrupted, but that's what we do because it is, what is it? It's January 14th going to the 15th, and you know what that means. I am the Clown Prince of Podcast, Travis Snell, and I'm joined by the head nodder.
I'm gonna go with Evil Evans, Taylor Field today.
What is Evil Evans from?
Knives Out or something?
No, how do you not know? It's like our
I guess. Okay,
prediction.
fair enough.
Prediction?
You got me.
Yeah,
you got
know.
Me. You got me.
I was thinking from Scott Pilgrim.
There's
That
many
works.
different versions. Knives Out works.
The GV therapist.
Well, that's how I was going to introduce myself.
Were you? Damn.
Well,
Thunder stole
now I don't think I will, Jessica.
And finally.
And your friendly neighborhood caster, Kirklin Patsy.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is an impromptu newscast because we got a bunch of stuff popping off in video games, movie, TV. People are coming back. People are getting fired. It's all a mess and whatnot. But, ladies and gentlemen, what you need to do is listen to Taylor Field because he's going to tell us where to find us on the internet.
Ooh, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you want to get your internet connections up. You want to get your 3G or 4G, just the whole 9 yards, even the 5G if you have it. But basically, you're going to go on the internet.
Not what I have.
Not what you have. Not in your little room over there.
What if I have no Gs? What if I have Wi-Fi?
If you have no Gs, hey, Wi-Fi is good because you're not paying
No
for data.
Gs.
So, so everyone can see what you just wrote. So the whole stream can see. What is this window?
What happened to him? I'm not watching live.
Well, Kirklin typed a message and it just displayed for the entire stream to see. Taylor, fix your window. I'll fix this window. I will get your rent when you fix this damn door.
Talking about cheese before you go on the internet, I was talking about this to Emily. Can you believe at one point in our life, like LG was a big thing? Like not the brand, like calling it like the word, like the term like LG. She's such an LG.
LGs.
Yeah, like that. I'm still
That's
surprised.
Little girl, right?
Yeah. And
Life's
it's just...
good. That's what it stands for.
Anyways, Taylor, where can they find us?
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, find us at the internet connection in the search bar. Check us out on our home base, geekverse.ca. Check us out on our social media, GeekverseCast on Twitter, and especially, check us out on our Facebook, Geekverse, because on Geekverse, on our Facebook, you can find our poll that's popping off right now, which heavily is going to coincide with what's going on right now, and our WandaVision review. In celebration of that, we're doing a Marvel Legacy poll, another fan-based community poll, as you know, and it's going hard. It's going ham. And right now it is Deacon Frost versus Blackout from Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance.
Oh, I was going to ask.
Did you sneak in there?
What's that?
How many Ghost Rider people did you sneak in there?
There's just two Ghost Rider heroes, and then the villains. I needed some more villains because I was running out for legacy characters. So there's a few of those random ghost guys from the first movie.
And Taylor, am I wrong? Did you put Red Skull from the class Captain America in the villains, but not Captain America, the hero, in the heroes category, or is he in there and I missed it?
No, I just put the Red Skull in there. I needed more villains. I couldn't have more heroes.
He was really lacking. I'm gonna ask not you, Taylor, Kirklin and Jessica. What is Deacon Frost from?
Deacon Frost?
Yeah. Look at the poll.
I'm not looking at the poll.
The Marvel film, not MCU.
Were they a part of that cast, Travis? Or was that just you, me, and Dylan?
One of them was. I don't want to spoil it, but one of them was a part of this retrospective.
Is it X-Men?
Wrong, Jessica.
I was hoping that he was going to get it right, and I wouldn't have to guess.
I was thinking the retros I've been on.
I recognize the name, but I don't know that I could.
I'll give you a hint, Jessica, in the form of emotion.
What was that motion? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Travis knows.
Okay, time's up.
I don't know. If I had to guess, I'd say just Fantastic Four, but that would just be something off the top of my head that I can think of that might have someone with that kind of name.
It was from Blade, which you were part of that retrospective. We did.
I
Blade.
was a part of that.
He's the very first villain in there, Deacon Frost. He's like the younger, very white guy.
A
So
lot of people, like it looks like the fans right now are, from what I've seen, are calling for Blade versus Deacon in the finals.
yes, which I'll give you points because you said that the old Ghost Rider was going to make it to round 2. He did, but then you also said Ryan Reynolds was going to win this whole thing.
I know.
He was out round 1
he
to
was
the
my
thing.
loose pick. Goes or Carter Slade making second round. That's his one last ride. He won't make it past the next round. So.
Oh my goodness. So, ladies and gentlemen, head down to the description down below, and everything we do and where we do it is there. Our audio feeds, our video feeds, our Patreon feed, which you can go get ad-free, exclusive, early episodes. I'm not sure what we're doing this month. We're going to figure it out because we're recording this. The WandaVision review will hopefully, we don't know. It all depends on Kirklin Patzer's little eyes. But in the next 24 hours, you'll be getting it after this newscast one way or the other. And then also this weekend, we're going to be doing Golden Geeks. If you want on Patreon, you can get that early on one of the tiers. If not, I'll be dropping next week. And you can check out me and Taylor just did a review for the High Republic book. What else is next week? WandaVision we'll be doing every week. We'll be dropping some retrospectives. But yeah, that's the biggest stuff right now. I don't think there's anything else. A shout out to Carl Ritchie and Aaron Braden, who's our Patreon producers. The next After 9 is going to be January 23rd. That's going to be tons of fun. It's always a good time, and we'll talk about what's happening so far because 2021 has been so much better than 2020 so far. Nothing bad has happened at all, so that's good.
Yeah, but just to pop in on that, 2020 didn't get bad until like March.
That's not
No,
true. January 29th, Kobe Bryant died.
That means
I
nothing
think
to me.
20,
And there were the forest
well, I
fires.
think 2021 is already bad. So the fact that it's going to get even worse January 29th is not a good sign, you know.
Be
So-
optimistic.
Oh yeah. But ladies and gentlemen, I think that's everything. Anyone have anything to shout before we get going here?
It's my birthday month, so shouts out to me because I'm awesome.
Shoutouts to you, Kirklin.
Yeah.
How old are you turning? 19? 18?
Quarter of a century.
Oh, 25. Ooh, that's juicy.
Oh my god,
That's
My
right.
brain will be fully developed, and I'll be riped and ready to go.
you're so young. You're gonna start decaying finally instead of aging.
I think it's all rise from here. I think I'm still peaking.
It's not still rise after 25.
We'll
It's
see what
not.
happens.
The fire
Yeah.
rises.
I'm gonna turn into, I don't know, Chris Evans or something. Just get jacked.
Good.
So someone else take the mic, please.
So speaking of Chris Evans, this is the reason we're doing this because today the story broke that Chris Evans is returning to the MCU as Captain America. It was reported that he is going to be returning in a Downey style type of role, maybe like Civil War-ish, where he'll be appearing in other films, but not like a Captain America 4. It's not known if it's one film or several as of right now. There's no time frame. There's no details of when it is. It's just he's coming back. So Taylor, Phil, I'm going to start with you. What are your initial thoughts of Chris Evans? What is your initial thoughts, or Evil Evans, of him coming back to the MCU? Left it in 2019. Endgame was the last time we saw him. He was dancing with Peggy, but it seems like there's still a little bit more to the story, I guess, or is there?
To bring him back as the one and only himself, playing himself, I think it totally strips away any sentimental value that I would have had for him in Endgame. So I don't think they're going to do that. That's not how Feige does things. He likes to get in deep and get in between like the grills and stuff. So what he's going to do, the grills.
Okay.
What he's going to do, and this is my prediction, is I think Evil Evans, I think that's definitely going to happen. We'll probably get something evil, and this is probably more like coming back as a villain. I want to say that's definitely my number one prediction, but I could easily see him being brought back in the shape and form of a Skrull, because I think that's where the direction they're going with a lot of these new Marvel pieces to the franchise and all that stuff. So Skrulls are obviously going to have a much larger role in the MCU. That being said, it could be some multiverse version of him, and I'm assuming that's probably where.
Taking all my points.
No, you say these things, and then I started thinking on them, and I was thinking, okay, I got counters to some of these, because I don't think they'll do a villain multiverse version possibly, but then at the same time I don't think that we may get like a regular good multiverse version, because we already got that in Endgame, and I don't think they're gonna rehash and repeat that variant of a multiverse Captain America. So again, it'll be some hail hydrating Captain America, or it'll be a Skrull. There you have it.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, because Taylor, like I said, he just bulldozes, takes all my points. But if Chris Evans is coming back, there's 4 ways it's happening. He's either gonna be just a regular old hero again. I've said this since Endgame. I think I said this on our review, that they set it up when they did that whole Paul Rudd, when they pushed the time through him and they turned him into a baby, a kid, an old man, because it just shows, well, you can just take any old person, put them in this machine, and they're young again. So boom, Chris Evans is Captain America again. I'm with Taylor where I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to do that this soon. It's not even been 2 years, and for him to have his send off and then be back is a little, I don't know. I don't think that works. I don't think it has the same oomph. The other option people have shown is like, is this his story of like him with Peggy, or how he put the stones back and everything like that? Like everyone's like, oh, what happened when he bumped into Red Skull or something like that? Is it that? I don't think it's that, because I don't think Disney, I don't think he's going to do a Disney Plus series. And then the 2 other ones are the bad guy ones. I've been saying this for years. I think him and Downey at some point will play villains. I don't know if Downey will now, because it might seem like copying, but he's either going to be a Skrull, so it's those shape-shifting aliens that can take on the form of anybody, and that Secret Invasion is going to happen, or there's going to be a multiverse version. The only reason why, because Skrulls are around right now, the only reason I lean towards multiverse and an evil Captain America is because then he'll have like his full power set. Like a Skrull Captain America, Skrulls are powerful, but he's not like the super soldier, right? So that's why I feel like a multiverse Cap could be it. But I think even if it's a Skrull or it's the multiverse, you're going to get him appearing unannounced in a movie, and everyone's going to be like, yeah, Cap's back, that's great. And the end credit scene will be showing like, no, this isn't our Captain America. Something's wrong here. Like, he's going to be doing something nefarious. And that's the only thing with Skrulls. I don't want, because I think Skrulls, there's going to be enough characters now like Nick Fury and stuff like that. They'll know what a Skrull is now, right? So they might call that out right away. So they'll go check and they'll be like, oh, he's not a Skrull. That's weird. Now they could say that with the multiverse. But Kirklin, where are you on all this?
Yeah, I feel like if like going the Skrull route, it's definitely possible. Especially since like they've already talked about that they would have a bigger role like in the MCU to come.
They did it with Nick Fury in Spider-Man Far From Home. He was an alien the whole movie.
No, exactly. And I feel like it could work. However, like my personal feeling, I feel like that's too small of a role for like going through the effort of bringing back someone like Chris Evans, who is like one of the, he's like the S+ character in the MCU, and like they sent him off in such an awesome way. So I feel like to go through the effort of having him like re-sign, go through all these efforts, it's not like it's a hidden casting or something, like like we're talking about it right now. So I feel like them doing all that stuff, it would be a bigger role, something possibly like I like your guys's talk about a multiverse version. I think that would be really fun. I think there would be tons of just, I don't know, really good potential with doing that. I feel like especially Chris Evans would be such an awesome like evil Captain America. We've seen him Captain America throughout the MCU so far, and it'd be really interesting to get a different take on that. I don't know though, because again, if they're going that route, would it just be like a one movie thing? Would it be like a Thanos type villain where it kind of builds up to him and then he goes away? Like, I don't know. I'm curious how that would go.
I feel like they don't even need Captain America, or not Captain, like Chris Evans anymore, because they can just CGI his face on the
on Toby or something.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going that route. I think if he's a villain, you'd have to do it either multiple films, like they lay the groundwork, and I think multiple meaning like just 2, or it's just right away there's a trailer like he's the bad guy from a different multiverse. But I feel like there has to be some little build up, because it always makes me wonder too of like, where is old man Captain America? Like, did he go back to his universe, or is he still just chilling on our universe old? So like, do they also go to him to help fight Cap? But Jessica, what about you? Because what do you feel that Chris Evans coming back now is maybe too soon? Because some people have said that, but what is your want for this potential to happen if it is happening, which it sounds like it is?
So I just want to say first, like, this is all strictly just rumor at this point. Like, Chris Evans has said on Twitter, like, this rumor is quote unquote news to me.
Yeah, but so we had the multiple people, like Haley Steinfeld denied she was in Hawkeye. She's in Hawkeye now. Tatiana Maslany, who's playing She-Hulk, denied she's She-Hulk. She's playing She-Hulk now. And the place that reported it is like, there's other rumors we'll talk about tonight that are like the lower tier ones. This comes from Deadline and also comes from Justin Kroll, who's like, the top scooper. He got what was it? A bunch of the stuff from the Disney announcements last month. He got right. So I think this is just them saying you got to go out there and deny it right now because everyone's talking about it. That's what I think it is. I think he's just playing. And technically, he just says news to me. He didn't even quote tweet it. He didn't even say what he was talking about. So I think it's a way. I think it's a way of being tongue in cheek and being like, "Oh, news to me," but he'll in the future be like, "Oh, I wasn't talking about Captain America. I never said that." You know, I just think he is. I think he's deflecting right now. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's what I was thinking too. Just saying the news to me doesn't necessarily have to be for Captain America. It's just obviously the timing of it. You have to assume that's what he's talking about. My thoughts, though, I definitely. I don't know. You kind of planned out your image of the MCU knowing that Cap wasn't coming back. Like, for many movies, everyone knew that after Endgame was done, that's when his contract was done. And I think that was kind of the build-up, too, of waiting to see how he was going to go out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that, kind of as everyone said, that they would bring him back and, to reprise that Cap role right now. I think there was just kind of too much impact with everything that happened. It'd be the same as like all of a sudden Robert Downey Jr. is coming back again. It just kind of takes away from the impact of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think the evil role would definitely kind of be the one, or alternatively, I think it would have to be something to do with the timelines. Just everyone knows how much I hate the timeline thing because it just messes stuff up so much, and there's no way to organize it up again. And I don't see it being any type of series at this point. I can't see him after, cutting ties with this big movie, whole big line to all of a sudden come back and just reprise his role in a series out of the gate. But I could see it turning into that eventually.
Before, because I know you raised your hand, Kirklin, so just wait one second.
Thank you for acknowledging.
Does him becoming a villain at least interest you, or do you think it's kind of like I don't care, that like it could be fun, but I don't care? Like, does that, if the next Avengers or whatever crossover event happens and you see the trailer and it's like, oh, evil Captain America's a villain, for you, Jessica, does that be like, oh, this is interesting, or are you kind of like, not really for me?
I think it depends on context.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that's the main pull is, shadow Captain America, it's kind of like meh. But if it was just like, I don't know, I think if it's something that's already interesting, like, oh, you find out that evil Captain America has a cameo in the very first episode of WandaVision, it's kind of like, oh, I wonder what that's about.
Mm-hmm.
But so I think there's kind of more, it's not just black and white about if it'd be exciting or not. So that's, to me at least, I think I'd be open to it, but I'm not like, it's not a day one purchase.
Wow. Kirklin, your hand was up earlier from Geek podcast.
So, I mean, obviously, like, these are fairly, I don't know, a sure thing. Like we've already just been discussing.
Things can always happen, right? It could fall through, but like when it's the top three are usually Deadline, Variety, Hollywood Reporter, and I would put my money on, and also just because like, I'm not trying to do a hashtag trash told you. I just always felt like it was always in the cards for either Downey or him to come back to play a villain version of himself. I just feel like, because that's, especially with Evans being like, him talk about how he loved the way his character finished. I don't buy him coming back to be the hero, but I buy him being like, hey, we have something really fun we could do with you. You could play Captain America, kind of. But then, we just did Scott Pilgrim, negative Captain America. It's like, you get to do that.
Yeah. But like, I also feel like this decision also could have been kind of been, I don't know, in the works after like the news, unfortunately, with Chadwick passing, because I feel like the same thing. I mean, I don't want to spoil like our other rumor that we have that we're going to talk about but like with the Michael B. Jordan rumors, like I got to feel like that character, I feel like the way that they killed him off in the first Black Panther, there was no really need to bring him back. Of course, they can do whatever they want. There's creative writers out there, but I feel like also when you're losing, someone that would have been carrying that series for the next, or not even just that series, but the whole MCU, like going forward. Unfortunately, he passed away. I feel like bringing in these other big characters like a Chris Evans, like a Michael B. Jordan, could also be a strategy to just, I don't know, boost the whole MCU after losing a centerpiece of your just whole product of MCU going forward.
So then I counter with you then, because I've heard this brought up too. If it is like Chris Evans coming back, helping or whatnot, does Marvel start losing the stakes of their thing? Because Endgame was brought up to be this whole big, this is the finale point for a lot of characters. Cap gets his big send off, and then I do think too, because if you look at everything, like tons of stuff's been filmed, it just can't come. Like Black Widow's been ready for like a year and a half now, it just can't come out. So, like, I doubt this will even see Chris Evans Captain America probably till like 2023, the earliest, 24. So it's gonna still be years away. But what do you think about that? That people say that the MCU / Marvel maybe loses stakes as far as character deaths because of the multiverse, or a send off, and then all of a sudden, less than 2 years later, hey, Chris Evans might be coming back.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there. It would definitely take away from.
Well, it's not my sentiment. Don't agree with me. I'm just echoing what people are talking about.
Well, what you're echoing, I can definitely agree with that and like see where they're coming from. I'm just like, I don't even think it would be the same Captain America that we saw before if they did go that route, or if they're just trying to bring Chris Evans, everybody is recognizing that character on screen. It might, like, of course it'd be pretty cheesy if they just like, oh, this is Captain America's twin brother or something. Like, you like, I'm not
Bart Rogers.
I'm not throwing that out there. I think that'd be incredibly cheesy, but they have more creative writers than I, so I'm sure they could do it, I don't know, in a good way, in a way that fools us all to really loving it and all that stuff. But I was just thinking, I don't know, boggling around with that idea in my head that possibly like this was a decision Feige and like the rest of the MCU producers and stuff like that, they're like, holy shit, how can we, I don't know. I just had that thought of, when you lose someone like Chadwick Boseman, who was so good as Black Panther, I don't know, like that affects your product, your overall product of what the MCU is, right? So maybe these are some moves to boost the, I don't know how much the MCU is worth, even though it's already worth billions upon billions.
Biggest movie of all time, yeah. Taylor, I did see you earlier checking your hair. You were pulling a Travis.
No, it was like.
Oh, I saw it was.
I wasn't gonna say.
And I had to be like
the whole cast.
Had to fix it there.
You had there's something about Mary hair going on there for a second. So. What about you, Taylor? As far as like the stakes, as far as people maybe work, because that's I think the negative side I've seen the most of people being like and we kind of talk about this now too, like a little bit with Loki and Gamora, where Gamora died, but now Gamora's back because, well, it's a different Gamora. And Loki, he's died several times, but it was like, oh, Infinity War, big final death. And it's like, well, now he has his own show. And guess what? It's been greenlight for season 2. So he has 2 seasons of his own show coming up, but we lost him. So how do you feel about that? Because I'm somebody that's grown up with comic books, and, Taylor will appreciate this. Luke Skywalker once said, no one's ever really gone. There's nobody in comic books, like, other than Uncle Ben and Bruce Wayne's parents. Those are like Bucky was one of those people that stayed dead, and they eventually brought him back as Winter Soldier, but he was dead for decades. Same as Jason Todd, he came back as Red Hood. But there's a few characters that maybe come back in dream sequences or something. But most characters always come back if there's a story, if there's something, and especially with a character like this, Chris Evans, popular actor. So for me, it's just like, it's always just a way of comic books. Like, I'm expecting everybody to come back till they passed away. Like I said, within 5 years, Downey will be back, whether he is playing a evil version, whether he's playing a multiverse version, whether it's just like a AR intelligence of him, he will be back. I guarantee you. I said the same thing about Evan. So how do you feel about that as far as this, like the argument of this hurts the stakes? Because, in the future when they're like, this is the last movie and so, do people care as much? Because they go, well, Captain America's back, or Chris Evans is back.
Sorry, what do you mean the stakes? Like, is there bets on the line here? Or?
No, stakes like, oh my god, like, what do you mean? Like, the gravitas.
Is their life even worth? Or like, are their lives even worth it if they just keep coming back?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the
so
gravity
there's no
of the
emotional
situation
connection.
in the movies. Yes.
Oh yeah, no emotional.
Got the stakes. Got a lot of money on that character come back.
I mean, again, it's different if they make this character completely different. If they bring him back as like a villain and they have him as like the new Thanos for the next 23 Marvel movies, then no, don't do that. But
that's a big commitment.
Yeah, if they have him come back as a Skrull and it's not really him, then that's fine. That works. That's totally okay in my books. But again,
so what if he came back as just Captain America the hero?
If they brought him back as Captain America the hero, then it totally strips away the authenticity of his end in Endgame. Because Endgame was literally that that branch off to leading to these original characters, kind of sending them off onto their next journey. Like we lost Black Widow, we lost Tony Stark, we lost Captain America in a sort of sense, but it just kind of it built up to that climactic ending for their journey. So to just bring them back again, like you said, in comic books, no one ever is really gone, but in this case, it's like it's different. This is cinema where you get attached to these characters. So again, I'm not saying you don't get attached to these characters in comic books, like because you clearly have with Batman and all that. But like for me as a viewer, when I go to the movies and stuff, and I go to see what's a good example?
Jurassic Park.
No, not a lot of
Alan
not a lot of
Grant?
people that I like die. Alan Grant's not dying. Well, actually, okay. Let's say in Jurassic World 3, they brought Alan Grant back, and he's in the portal scene. The T-Rex is in front of him, and he needs his whole crew to come out. So Jeff Goldblum comes out from behind him. Laura Dern comes out from behind him. Chris Pratt's there. Bryce Dallas Howard, and then you have the T-Rex, the Spinosaurus, Indoraptor, the whole shebang popping on the other side, and then all of a sudden, they kill off Alan Grant. He's eaten alive, and it's like a great ending for him because he goes out with like his like flare inside.
Takes down like 10 raptors with him.
Yeah.
Just his six-pack just showing. Hair just flowing in the wind.
So he dies
Whatever
there.
hair he has left.
Whatever hair. He dies there, and that's fine. Then we get Jurassic World 4, and then it's like, oh no, he survived. He burst out with his six-pack ab out of the Velociraptor's gut. And he's back. It like totally strips away the meaning of his death and just that sentimental value. And it would totally ruin it for me because a character like that I'm attached to. I looked at Alan Grant like God, like you have so many resemblances to my real life father here. It's weird. So like a character like that is like it was the abs and the loss of hair.
How did you feel about Gandalf then in Lord of the Rings when he died in one movie and then the very next movie he was back?
That's
he was
a
sent
Dylan
back,
thing.
okay.
I didn't
He
get.
still had work to do.
Yeah, he was sent back. I didn't have like a super connection to Gandalf because they killed him off in the first movie. So
Wow.
for me, my connection my connection was to like Legolas and like Aragorn and Gimli. Those are my connections, characters. And like for you, Travis,
Legolas.
I feel like your connection over Gandalf would be like Boromir. I feel like his death probably saddened you more than Gandalf's.
Now it does, but I think in the theater when I first saw it,
Boromir was an asshole.
No, he's not. Okay, we're gonna wait till we get to Lord of the Rings retrospect. He's not an asshole at all. The ring torments him, but you get to see that his dad is just like a very abusive father, and he's pushing him to be like, you gotta be the king, you gotta take the ring. Like he even was like, I don't want to go to this meeting. Boromir he's the most interesting character of Lord of the Rings. Gandalf, yeah, it was pretty sad. I think I cried in the theater. With Boromir, it was just, I think with Boromir I was more in shock because I didn't think he was gonna bite it, and he did. But fucking shade over there about Boromir. Don't you dare talk about Boromir. So the son of the Steward of Rohan. My God, he died for the ring.
What's that quote again? A chance for Faramir to show his quality.
yeah. That's Kirklin. He has to show his quality. The rest of his
Chance
cast.
for Faramir, Captain of Gondor, to show his quality.
Jessica, to flashback, you did have your hand up earlier.
I did long before Lord of the Rings and Jurassic Park. And
That's what happens here, Geekers.
yeah, just wanted to kind of go back to you were mentioning, like obviously Loki dies multiple times and Gamora died and, Killmonger died. We have, Chris Evans coming back. You're talking about Robert Downey Jr. will probably be back in a couple of years. And I think, in 10 years' time, when everyone's died and come back multiple times, I think it won't really matter so much if Chris Evans comes back now and is Captain America again right away, because that's just going to slowly become what people are used to. So although it may burn them a bit right now, it kind of down the road, it's, oh, Robert Downey Jr. is back. Oh, okay, well, we've already had that happen with Black Widow and we've had that happen with Captain America. So that's just normal, and wonder what they're going to do with him now.
Yeah, that's what's interesting to me to see is because I feel like they got a fine line in the MCU and just comic book movies about people getting tired of them, and I don't think they want people to get. That's the risk if you bring back everybody and then they keep dying off. But I guess they just do, and it's gonna be weird for the next few years because we don't even know how Black Widow's releasing. We don't even know like box office when it's gonna be. So before it was like easy to say like, oh, the support of these movies or franchises are waning, but now it's like we don't really know. We just have to take these companies at their word that they're breaking these records, and I'm sure they are. I don't think they're lying, but it's just like we don't have like we get box office, but it's not like it used to be because like in Canada, like 5% of the theaters are open, so it's like, well, that's not a really good sign for what the box office would be, and it's still crazy out there. So,
but I think you can also look and see what characters are popular enough that it's worth bringing back. You know, obviously Loki is hugely popular. Like people are in love with Tom Hiddleston.
Oh yeah, thirst tweets all the time I see.
Yeah, so I mean, I think you could.
From Taylor.
Captain America would be obviously one that people loved. Robert Downey Jr. for sure. Like there's a huge cult following for him, and you know you could pick out a few more. Like Thor has obviously got a huge fan base as well, right? So there's a couple where, you know, it.
Toby.
Yeah, and he is coming back.
He's coming back.
Toby.
Taylor from Geek First. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Jessica. I thought you were done.
It's fun, you know.
Jessica from Geek First podcast as well, by the way.
Yeah, I am from Geek First podcast. Thank you, Kirklin. Thank you. Earning my respect back.
Respect the title.
Showing me his quality.
Chance for Kirklin.
Go ahead.
Chance for
Taylor.
Jessica to show her true quality. Taylor Field from Geek First podcast. Show your quality.
Jessica wasn't done.
Oh no! I thought she said she was done.
I said it's okay. Taylor can go. I was gonna just start rambling at this point.
Okay. How do you guys feel in the aspect of, so let's say Captain America does come back, Chris Evans is back, and now old Chris Evans basically gifted his shield to Falcon, and now Falcon basically has a shield, and he's like, "Thank you, I'm honored, I'm gonna take care of it." And then you have like young Chris Evans, who's probably never even, maybe if he's from another multiverse, has never met Falcon. He shows up, he's like, "Yo, what the fuck are you doing with my shield?" And he like beats the shit out of Falcon and takes his shield. Like,
well, one, they got to do that right, or it'll be extremely racist. Two. No, I think because if it's a Skrull, the Skrulls, what they're known for is they're this alien race that just studies everything about their opponent. So they would probably have some sort of spies to know he gave Sam the shield. So he would be like, "Oh, no, it's yours. Like, go ahead." If it's a multiverse Cap, I think almost right away he has to be bad because it's going to be like he's coming in, he's taking over, he's a bad guy. And then like maybe the public will think like, hey, he's good. But I don't know. Like I said, because even then when he's young again, the cast, aka Sam, is gonna ask like, "Hey, the last time I saw you, you were like a 7-year-old dude. How are you young again?" Now he can make up some bullshit reason, the bad guy can, but that's why I do wonder if they just jump right to bad guy, or I don't know. And that's where I don't know what the story is for him to be just the hero coming back. To me, the story, I always thought there was a chance of him coming back as just the hero, but I would think that's like 10 years from now. Let's say it's Avengers 6. It's our next Endgame, and it's like, we need everybody. And they go to the retirement home, and Steve's there, and they're like, one more battle, Steve. Like, we need you. And then that last battle scene, he shows up, be like, oh my God, Chris Evans is there as Captain America. I could buy that like 5 or 10 years later. 2 years later, I think, yeah, there's hype if he just shows up. But if he shows up, like now, it's nowhere near the level because like, yeah, he just said Avengers Assemble. We just said bye to him. So it is gonna be tricky how they do him coming back. But I think the Sam and Shield thing definitely will play a factor. It has to play a factor in him and Bucky and Sam and Cap, like, and Evil Cap. Like that has to be. That's what you would jump to. The same way if Iron Man comes back, I would expect Rhodey to have a big part in that because it's like his best friend, or Pepper Potts, because it's like
next
clearly,
time, baby.
Yeah, next time, baby.
They recast that guy.
Chance for Terrence Howard to show his true quality.
He's the multiverse version of
That'd be
Rhodey.
so
That
sick.
comes
And they
with
get Edward Norton back from the Hulk.
Oh, that would actually be so
That'd be
hype,
really
yeah.
good.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there's rumors that Tom Cruise is going to be playing Iron Man in Multiverse of Madness because he was their first choice, and it didn't end up working out. So I hope it
Leo
happens.
as Spider-Man.
Hayden Christensen as Spider-Man. That was another one was talked about too. So yeah. Anything else on Chris Evans? So as of right now, we have no timetable. We have nothing like that, but it just looks like it's happening, and maybe we'll hear more probably down the line. I know some people have been like, "Oh, Falcon Winter Soldier." I think that's too soon. That show's actually already
That's
filmed. It comes
way
out in
too
March.
soon. Jesus.
Yeah. Well, but you would think that you get why people that would maybe jump to that, right? Because it's like his best friends. The show's centered around him.
I guess,
and
but we got filler cap for that show though, right? So
yeah, we got U.S. Agent coming, but the whole show is about who's going to be the next Captain America. It just ends with Chris Evans coming back, like, nah, I'm still Cap. Peggy died, I'm back. Like, I got bored, but no. So I don't think there. I don't. Well, and that's the question. Do you like out of the slate as far as movies and whatnot? Do you guys have any predictions of where we could see him first down the line, or TV shows? Do you have one in your mind?
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, that's mine too, because it's the multiverse of madness, and I do think he is going to be the multiverse version. They could do a scroll, but I think he's going to drop through a portal, and we're stuck with evil Captain America.
And what's the date on that again?
Well, as of right now, it's next year, barring no delays, and I think it's like the spring of next year. So because originally it was supposed to be like WandaVision, Loki, and then that right away, because they're all connected. But obviously, COVID that got punted. So. I think it's spring sometime next year. But that could be his cameo and then his full, because I guess I wonder if that's why, because people have talked about Multiverse of Madness because they're filming it right now, and what if that's why the contract conversations are coming out right now, because they have to lock them down to film scenes. The same way Toby, think about that. We started hearing about Toby, and then all of a sudden he's sneaking around in Disney's set in the costume designer thing.
He's crawling around.
Yeah, I don't think he's there for fucking Enchanted 2. So why else is he on the Disney costume set? So it's the same way as this. So that could be it, that they're filming right now. Like, hey, we need to lock you down, and that's why these contract negotiations have leaked, maybe. So
do we know he was for sure on set, or is that one of those other images that you fell for?
No, that was a photoshopped one. No, this was what him just showing up just regular, like in street clothes, but to costume fitting. He didn't like try out the costume in the parking lot. How do I look, Kevin? Like, no, I don't do that.
Like a fake web shoot.
Really want to be in your movie, Kevin? Can you hook me up?
That'd be so pathetic.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a good guess for the Multiverse of Madness. It would make the most sense probably for his return. Just to go against the grain, I'll throw. Yeah, it's a little far off, but I'll throw Black Panther out there. I'll go with that.
I've heard it thrown out there. You're not crazy.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you know what?
People.
I can back Kirklin on that one for the fact that, because if they're gonna have to do something to bring Killmonger back, to have him as a piece of that film when he's died off, then obviously, there's a good chance that there could be something to bring back Chris Evans, who is also supposed to be killed off too, right? So
they just open up this portal that brings open every fucking dead or missing person from the MCU into Black Panther, and it's just like, it's not meant to be any joke or anything like that. I just mean like in the characters. So so that's happening. Taylor, you're good to go over there. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our first ad break, and this helps support the channel, help grows it. If you don't like ads, you can go to Patreon and join the $5 tier and get ad-free shows with exclusive episodes, early episodes, a whole bunch of stuff, fun things going on over there. And this year, I haven't even announced it, but we do this with the fan votes and everything, but the patrons, we're going to still do the Facebook ones. That's going to be the Facebook polls for Golden Geeks, but we're going to do like an Academy board. And if you're on Patreon, any tier, you're going to get to vote for the winners of Golden Geeks this year. So that's what you get on Patreon. Yeah. That's a little bonus there. So we'll reveal like what GV thought overall just between our little group, but then the overall, whatever. I'm not going to call it the Academy. I'll think of a name, but that's why you go to Patreon. And right now you're going to get hit with an ad, and then we'll be right back.
I was going to say it was a good transition for Killmonger, but...
It was, but we got to take that ad break. Got to pay the bills. Got to keep the green lights on. But we can.
Your green light is on.
Give me the green light. Yeah, I know, but it has to stay on. If it doesn't, look at this.
It'll dim if we start losing money.
I didn't pay the bills. Boom, it's gone, just like that. I'm over it. But
look at that Spider-Man in the background, though.
Was he cool with the dark?
He was in a spotlight there. Look at him.
Oh, look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, so Black Panther has been popping off with a bunch of news this week. Obviously, check out the podcast network. We got 7 shows there, 7 days a week, 10 shows. And me and Chris talked about a lot of Marvel Alliance, but we've had a new rumor come up. So some of them are that the plot of Black Panther is going to feature kind of a battle it sounds like they are going to write off the character in a potential passing on situation. That's not known. It sounds like the plot is going to be who is going to be the next Black Panther, kind of maybe leading towards Shuri. Doctor Doom is said to be in it, but not the main villain, but kind of like a string pull in the background. It's supposedly going to introduce Namor, who Namor is Marvel's like Aquaman. He's, from Atlantis, all this stuff. He's like the first mutant. And now there's something breaking tonight, which most of these rumors are still from C tier people. So these are ones I could say, these might not be true, but it's fun to talk and speculate. But there has been word that Michael B. Jordan is going to be coming back. We don't know the size of the role. We don't know what it is. But Kirklin Pats, I'll throw to you. What do you think about? We just talked about Chris Evans coming back. What do you think about Michael B. Jordan coming back potentially, and how do you think he would come back? Because people have speculated: is it flashbacks? Is it a multiverse situation? Is it they bring him back to life, or is it that maybe he actually never died at the end of Black Panther? Because sure, he pulled a knife out of his chest, but maybe T'Challa didn't let him die. Maybe he, like Bucky, put him on ice for a little bit, and he's just away somewhere. So, what do you think?
I feel like there's tons of different, scapegoats for bringing back Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger. Obviously, tons of people loved him. A lot of positive feedback from that character and that role. I think I would like it. I'm a little like iffy on it right now, just because he had such a good like sending off. I do want to see him again, but. I don't know. I think it would have to be done in a good way. However, it is Wakanda. They have great technology. They almost took the stone right out of Vision. If they had more time, they would have done it. They got technology. I think they could definitely do it just from some Wakandan tech, or who knows? Maybe we didn't see everything that happened at the end of that, or at the end of his story. So maybe he didn't fully die. Who knows? I don't think it would be.
What do you want, Kirklin?
What do I want?
Kevin Feige comes to you and he says, "We're bringing back Michael B. Jordan. How should we do it?"
Oh no.
And this is keeping in mind that they said there won't be any CGI T'Challa.
Yeah, they're not going to do that. There has been talk that there may be the suit, like there may be a battle at the beginning to kill T'Challa off, and I do think that could happen in a way of like.
You don't see his face.
Yeah, they use sound clips from other movies and stuff like that, and something happens. And because I do think, I know, like Kirklin, you answered your question a second, but I know people might not want it in the movie, but I really do feel like the only way to do it is to kind of kill that character off, not just in the sense of like real world, but I also just think in the story, it's just too much of a hole just to say he's missing or he's just gone. And also, I feel like it gives them an opportunity to kind of like that movie is gonna suck to watch in a way, but I feel like they're going to do it in a nice tribute sort of way. Like that first hour is going to be like real life worth like dealing with this. And I think it's going to be I think it's going to be really cathartic for that cast and crew, especially for Ryan Coogler, the director. But I feel like that's the way you kind of have to go. You have to. Yeah. If they said they're not recasting him, I've always said that I think one time in the future we'll get a multiverse version of T'Challa, and you can get another actor because you can say, well, this is a different T'Challa. Mm-hmm. This isn't Chadwick. But I think right now it's just too soon for that. I think people, at least myself, would not be ready to see another actor in that role.
That's tricky because like every movie that he's been in now, I guess with the exception of Civil War, he's died but not really died. I guess in like his stories, because like he died but didn't really die in Black Panther, then he died and didn't really die in Infinity War, right? So
yeah, but this is a definitive, like we have to write this character off, and I think we would, as the audience, know he's not coming back, right? At least this version of T'Challa. Like I said, I think a multiverse version could happen in the future, and you bring in another actor, but I think that's like down the line.
Well, like this movie, I almost feel would have a similar feel to like what was that Fast movie when what's his name? Paul Walker passed away. I feel like it could definitely have a similar feel like that. Well, it would be so hard for the cast and crew just to go through with that movie, or like, I'm not saying they wouldn't want to do it, but like just having all those mixed emotions and everything. I do think it would be that route though, of because like you were mentioning, Travis, like plot wise for Black Panther, like the character, it'd be really tough to just say that he's just missing or disappeared or something. So I think there would have to be some sort of conflict that does kill that character off, at least in the MCU. And
so
then
Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
If he's coming back. Yeah. So
back.
Feige, he still asked you the question.
I had to run to the bathroom
to
think of. Hope you're recording. What do you mean?
I am.
Go ahead.
I feel like how I would want him to be back is somehow the suit saved him. The suit was he? Yeah, he was still wearing the suit, right, when he died.
Jaguar.
Yeah, I feel like that's what I would lean into. Again, it's going with the Wakandan tech that's saving him. Jessica's got a real world hand up, so I'll give it to her. That overpowers the virtual hand when you get your actual hand up.
Trying to show her quality. Jessica from Geekverse podcast. That Kevin Feige comes to you and says, "Hey, how are we bringing him back?"
And I'm like, Jessica the White, but like Gandalf the White, not.
Yeah, don't lead with that one. You're not writing Black Panther 2 next.
So thought. So so Killmonger is like on the table, being kept alive because he's was close to death, and then some kind of fight, and T'Challa dies, so they take the spirit of the Black Panther and then put it in Killmonger to keep him alive because there can only be one Black Panther, and now it's no longer Black Panther.
Well, technically, he already, because they used to drink those herbs, he already has the spirit of Black Panther, or what is it, Killmonger, so he wouldn't need it, technically. So he already has it.
Well, whatever, that was my idea that I held my hand up for.
All right, Taylor Field, your turn. Go.
So yeah.
And first of all, are you a fan of him? I know we've kind of screwed around, but are you a fan of him coming back? Because I remember I was talking about the Black Panther as far as we didn't want the character to go, but they also gave him a really good ending. So it was kind of tough of like, this character, because the way he didn't he literally said he didn't want to be locked up. So that's why I do worry is like if you bring him back and they've kept him on ice, it's like, I feel like he's gonna be really pissed if like that was his one wish, like not be in jail and locked up, and they like, well, that's what we did to you, and we put you like, because what the fuck were they gonna do with him if they just like froze him somewhere? With Bucky it was different because they froze him, but they're like, we're gonna work on your mind. So it's like, okay, when he comes out, he's a better guy. They're not gonna lobotomize Michael B. Jordan, I'd imagine. Like that. I don't think that's. I don't know.
That's how this starts. This movie, some lab. Some dank lab
freight train
just dripping
red.
Yeah, but are you a fan of this? And then two, how do you think it happens?
Yeah. So I am inclined to say I'm a fan of it. I feel like nowadays Marvel can't necessarily kill off their villains because there's so much story that they can use their villains for, and you use them and save them up for when you're building up to that major endgame, of course, because you have like your Ant-Man and Wasp villain. I can't remember her name, but So
are you just saying that they can't kill off villains because we need them for our polls, apparently?
No, why?
Because you couldn't find villains for our poll.
That's for Legacy. Yeah, pre-MCU.
Yeah.
No, and even
Legacy
then,
is Taylor. Remember,
Legacy's
with an S. Yes.
If they kill off their villains in the MCU, it doesn't matter. They can still be poll characters. So, but in this case, no. What I'm saying is, I don't see why they necessarily have to kill off a lot of their villains because their villains can be reused. Like Ghost, and again like Vulture. They have these plans for these characters that they can incorporate down the line. So I think that's exciting because it sets up crossovers that before you have one villain for one hero in a movie, like the Dark Elves and Thor and all that jazz. But here, no, you have you have again these villains that don't die in their movies. Again, they kept Loki alive, even though he was the villain in Thor 1. He is now kept alive, and look at all the crossovers he's been passed along through. And it's awesome that you get to see him interact with other heroes and other villains and that sort of stuff. So I'm totally for it, and I think that them killing off Killmonger, as great as a send-off as it was, I am ready for them to bring him back in some shape or form because, yeah, he did have the Black Panther herb running through his veins. And, again, Wakanda tech is definitely through the roof. Like, it does everything. Like, holy shit. So, that being said, if Feige is, like, sitting me down and we're getting that Starbucks and we got the laptop open and, like, we're going to start talking deets.
Okay.
So
stop right there. Feige's not going to a Starbucks to write out his...
Oh, he's bringing Taylor Starbucks.
He's not going to a Tim Hortons, that's for sure.
No, not Tim Hortons. We're going to
So,
Starbucks.
Taylor, in your mind, though, do we get a similar Loki treatment that he starts to get the redemption?
I think, yeah, he'll be redeemed. I think he's going to be sitting in his jail cell and he'd be like, fuck this. I'm going to be a good guy. Or the more realistic
That's
approach.
how it works. That's how, just so you know, people, if you get arrested, that's how you get out of jail.
He didn't want to go to jail, but he's just in there. He immediately regrets all of his actions.
Or is it just that Sherry becomes the new he stays the villain. There's no redemption arc at all. He just stays the villain, and then Shuri is the new Black Panther, and he's just Killmonger 2.0.
So
Even meaner.
2.0. My pitch is whether it's Doom or whatever villain they're facing, that if he's still alive on ice or in a jail cell somewhere, they bring him out because whatever they're facing is so dangerous. They need something or someone else to help them.
Putting together a Suicide Squad.
Well, I'm not going to say that, but I'm just saying, like, what if Doom is invading Wakanda, which I've been pitching for years, and it sounds like they're going to do somewhat of a version. Like, it sounds like, I know people are going to make a comparison. It does sound a little bit like it's a very similar to BVS plot as far as they're going to make Wakanda. It was going to be Black Panther and Namor. They are going to fight, and then it sounds like to me Doom was in the background. I think they'll make Shuri or whatever the Wakandans fight Namor, because I guess the plot is they are, like, searching around in Wakanda in water, and they find the lost city of Atlantis, and they find all the Atlanteans, everything like that, and that becomes an issue. So I think that whether it's them or Doctor Doom, she will use Killmonger as a, I will let you out if you help us fight this. And I think it is interesting. I think they got to walk a tight line as well. Same thing like the Chris Evans thing, because when it was no Michael B. Jordan, obviously it goes to Shuri. She's going to be Black Panther. I still think she will be. But I think they got to be careful because I think a lot of people will end up wanting Michael B. Jordan to be the Black Panther. If it leaks, like more like if it fully comes out he's in this, or they advertise it just because he was such a great character, I think it's. We'd have to do a cast about it, but he's definitely in top 10 performances in the MCU. I think he should have got an Academy Award nomination. He was just, it might be the best performance in the MCU, honestly. It's just so fantastic. So I think there's a worry there for me is like Michael B. Jordan's so popular and that character was so popular, and I think would be very relatable. But Shuri was also a very likable character as well. So Kirklin Patzer, you want to show your quality?
So if Michael B. Jordan becomes Black Panther, does he keep his baller suit, the full gold?
Well, maybe that's it. Do we get two? Is she Black Panther and he's Golden Jaguar?
Ooh.
Could be that.
The Iron Man War
like
Machine scenario.
It could be, yeah.
He does look baller in that suit, so I want him to keep it no matter what happens.
Yep.
I feel like there was such a huge push for more female like major roles like that. I think the MCU would be kind of stupid not to put Shuri into that Black Panther position just because there was such a push for it when when Chadwick passed away. So I don't think even if there was a huge community push for Killmonger to take over that, I think at most you would, like we were just talking about, get the two, but I don't think it would ever just get to the point where he's the only one.
And you could have him on the outside as like a person from Wakanda that like he'll do good, but we can't trust him fully. We don't like he would pretty much just be this generation's Loki or this decade's Loki.
Anti-hero,
yeah. You don't know what side he's on, and I think Michael B. Jordan. I always wonder too, and we'll probably learn this at some point. But I would love to know: was Michael B. Jordan always planned to come back for this, or is this a result of Chadwick not being there? Like we talk about Chris Evans, as far as like, well, we want to do it. Chadwick and Michael B. Jordan were really close in real life, so is it this kind of like I want to be a part of this? But then if we're talking about this whole, if there is a storyline of Doom is invading Wakanda and they need help, I could have seen that being in the original script too, of everyone loved Michael B. Jordan, let's find a way to work him in. And Kirklin, obviously you're a big Doom fan. What do you feel about, I think it's not a big surprise because we've talked about multiple places he could show up when we said Black Panther, but how do you feel that now it seems like there's a bit more rumors behind that as far as it's and the word is that he would eventually meet up with Fantastic Four, but they might keep them separated for now and then bring them together eventually.
I think that's a really, really awesome idea. I really, really hope it happens as well. I just think it would be such a good idea to have Doom appear in something earlier than Fantastic Four. That way, when we get to Fantastic Four, it's not just like what we've seen in the past, right? Where we see the origin of Fantastic Four. You have Victor Von Doom, who's just like kind of there.
So they've skipped the origin in your like trajectory here. They've already skipped the origin story because Doom is connected with them, right? When they all get their powers.
He used to be, though. They could change anything they want. Look at Ultron. Ultron in the comic books was created by Hank Pym, and they went, nah, we're gonna make Robert Downey Iron Man do that, and that's all. They could make the events separate now if they wanted.
Yeah, I could see them totally changing it, especially if they want to really kind of rebrand Fantastic Four. We've seen, I've seen two iteration. I haven't seen the newest film because I just avoided like the plague. But
we're retroing it. Don't
in
worry.
my lifetime, yeah, there's been 2 Fantastic Fours, and I feel like Kevin Feige and the rest of the MCU guys that are making this film, they want to really do something different. They don't want to be like linked to those old ones. So I could definitely see them doing a different iteration. And yeah, I really want to see a Victor Von Doom that is really, really, really powerful, like to the point that like I feel like he's a menace, not like, in Chris Evans, Johnny Storm, Fantastic Four, where he just kind of feels like a whiny little rich boy or something.
Yeah,
that's just what I got from it.
And I also don't want Doom, which has happened in every other film, just to get beat in the first movie.
Exactly. I want him to be a serious villain, that like
Is this another 23 movie? Go.
Well, the rumor that if these rumors are true, that is Marvel's plan. They want him to be the next Thanos. And in the comic books, he very much in the comic books, he was like maybe the most he started as Fantastic Four villain, but then he's literally like been a villain of everybody: Daredevil, Iron Man, Spider-Man. Like he's always around. But the problem was in other media, like these movies, he was done poorly multiple times. He kind of went down the totem pole, and I feel like Magneto for years took his place, and now Thanos I think is that like big bad in Marvel that everyone thinks about. But before honestly, I feel like Doctor Doom was that first in comic books and animation stuff. That's like the first, this is the guy you don't want to mess with. This is the guy that could wreck shop. But then that kind of went away. So I do think they will, and that's what some of the rumors are. They will make him the next Thanos. They'll make him the next. I don't think they're calling this, but like how they called the last movie, the Infinity Saga. This could be the Doom Saga, and I think that'd be great to start off at Black Panther. And I've always pitched I've said this on Marvel Alliance, I've said this on Geek First. I'll just repeat it for new viewers. I think this storyline makes so much sense for Black Panther 2 as far as in the end of Black Panther 1, they revealed themselves to the world, and that movie was so much about race. To me, the sequel of a very rich, powerful white man coming to invade and take all their shit, that's exactly to me how the sequel should go, because they reveal themselves, and I can see Victor Von Doom going to government being like, hey, they hid themselves. I should go there and just take a look and see what else they have, how can we trust them? But really, he wants to go there just to fucking invade and everything like that. And I really think we're going that route. I just feel like that race was such a big issue, and even Killmonger wanted to take out the white folk and hit them back. And the fact that Black Panther stopped that, it's almost like gonna come back. And plus, now if they do write off Chadwick, it's even better because Doom can go invade when they don't have a king. When there's no king around and they're a hurt country, that's even more so for him to start messing stuff up. Kirklin Panzer.
Travis, question for you: do you have any dream casting for Doom right now? Anyone that you have in your mind?
Well, we did this cast a while back ago because you remember we did the fantasy cast. It was 3 years ago now, so it's been a while. But you and Ted picked Christoph Waltz. My guy, well, okay, I've always said this from day one. My guy is Mads Mikkelsen, but they unfortunately wasted him in Doctor Strange, and he's fucking floating in a cloud somewhere. So that's cool. I've always said next is Javier Bardem as my guy. That is to me. But the thing is, I don't know what the age they're going for with Fantastic Four. Are they going young? Are they going adult? Or are they doing a mix? Because whatever age Reed, Mr. Fantastic is, Doctor Doom has to be the same because they went to college together, they were friends, and then they had a massive falling out. So if they go young Reed Richards, they got to go a young actor. If they go older, then they can go pretty similar. So I think they're going to go mid-range. So I think Javier, unfortunately, is too old now. I don't think they're going to give it to a 50-year-old guy. But at the same time, I guess, I don't know. That it's a bit different with Doom. But with Josh Brolin, he was almost 50 and he played Thanos. But that's different. You can just cake him up in the suit and CGI, right? With Doom, he does have a human face. He is still a human. He has these earthly, ungodly powers that he finds and whatnot. But Taylor, were you wanting to say something?
I was gonna say maybe they're just teenagers. We had a science lab.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Teenagers in science lab, right?
Yeah. No, I think
Ned's Declassified?
You say that
Coconut Head. Let's do it.
That's who's playing Doom. Confirmed right here. We got our own scoop. Coconut Head has been cast as Doom. Wow.
Hot scoop, hot take. You say that they went to college together and all that stuff, but I mean, again, this is the same thing. They could just rewrite that.
Yep.
It's their origin. So I mean, they could be
True.
Reed could be in a bar and be like, "Hey," he could be drunk. "I got on this paper here, this napkin, this great idea for a particle accelerator. It's gonna give me superpowers." And Doom could be like, "Oh, that's great, buddy," and he just chauffeurs him home, and then they build the particle accelerator, and then boom, they got they could do all this kind of stuff.
That's true.
And it's interesting. It's very interesting. Who I would want to play Doom? I mean, I don't remember my fan cast for him.
It was Christoph Waltz.
Christoph
You
Waltz.
too, run a team.
Yes. Okay, that's a very good. I appreciate that early pick, Taylor. Shoutouts to my old self.
And me.
And
I said it
Kirklin.
too. Yeah, thank you.
But I'm curious. I mean, to have him debut going into Wakanda and that kind of origin story for him, I think that definitely is fitting. Again, I like when they swap out these like the villains from the norm and have again them just tackling the rich MCU storyline and history that's available for them. So I never would have thought that you'd see Thor with the Guardians of the Galaxy and them going off in like a movie and doing their own thing. That's just a pairing I didn't think that was going to happen until I saw it. So it's that's just a perfect example of having Doom in a totally different scenario. In Ultimate Alliance, wasn't Doom responsible for that, or was that MODOK?
In the very first one?
No, in Ultimate Alliance 3.
In Wakanda?
Yeah, well, that was MODOK that took Wakanda, right? Or was
that
Doom?
Doom was DLC.
He was DLC,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. It's just again, the games do a good job at kind of doing all that stuff. So I feel like the movies are definitely taking a piece of that and just combining all these different characters together. So
anything else on Black Panther 2? All these rumors? Are we good to go?
Good to go.
Perfect. So something that's not a rumor because it's come from the mouth of the king himself, Kevin Feige. I want to get your guys' opinion because I did talk about some Marvel Alliance, but I want to know. Kevin Feige has stated that we had known Deadpool 3 was happening and it was known it was going to be rated R, but at the time it was being pitched that it was going to be outside the MCU. But Kevin Feige has now confirmed that it's going to be inside the MCU. So, Jessica, I'll start with you. What do you think about do you think Deadpool can work in the MCU? Not in the sense of like I'm sure writers can figure out, but do you think how does that work going forward as far as like it's a Disney product, it's very family friendly, you know, they kind of have a style, and it would be the first MCU rated R Marvel movie. There's been Logan, there's been Deadpool, but those were always other companies owned. This would be the first like Disney produced movie that would be rated R. And do you think it's actually gonna happen? They say that it's happening, but like, you know, shit can go wrong.
I think they kind of have to. Not just the fact that they've announced it, but that's just kind of the show and the brand. I mean, I don't know if someone came to me and they're like, "Hey, you want to go watch this PG Deadpool?" It's like, that's okay. You know, they tried that. I don't think it went over all that great from what I remember, but I'm sure Travis will tell me if I'm wrong.
It was good. There's some fun stuff in there.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It's not the same, and it didn't rate as it was well in the box office.
No, but it was also just Deadpool 2 recut, right? I think if you did like a whole PG-13 new Deadpool, it might have a pushback, but like I think it would at least do better than that. But you know, we don't know for sure.
So I don't think that this movie per se, like, yes, it's in the MCU, but I don't think they'll necessarily do anything with that this time. I think that might just be, you know, they have to that they're coming out and saying it, but it's still going to be a similar Deadpool. I think it'll be something that down the line it'll slowly get integrated. You know, like I know there's been push for Deadpool to be the cameos replacing Stan Lee, you know, so that could be one way that slowly starts to happen.
I don't think so. I think people are wishful thinking on that one. I know.
Well, there's lots of wishful thinking when it comes to movies. I mean, that's Coconut true. Head is Doom, so you know.
That's confirmed, though. That's confirmed by us.
I don't really know how they're gonna do it. I mean, there's still gonna be probably more X-Men kind of crossover there, and that could be part of. Because they're Disney now too, right? They were purchased
Everything's
out.
Disney, other than Spider-Man. Spider-Man has a partnership. They're not owned by Disney, but everything in now Marvel is owned by Disney.
Yeah, so I mean, I could see it being the Disney piece of it, or the Marvel piece of it that is them having a bigger crossover with the X-Men, where it's not just the empty mansion and X-Men that have never been used before.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm excited for it. I love the first two. I'm glad that they are keeping it rated R, and I think that it will stay rated R. I can't see them dropping it, especially now that they've announced it. I think there would be a lot of pushback.
Yeah. If you could have one character from the MCU be in this, what would your pick be, Jessica? And I'm going to ask Taylor and Kirkland the same thing. Or do
I
you
want
want
to
to think?
I want to say Tom Holland Spider-Man, but
Yes,
I don't
let's-
necessarily know that's a partnership.
Oh, they are in the comic books because Deadpool is like him and Deadpool have this weird bedfellows type of relationship where Deadpool's kind of a fan of him, but also kind of hates him. But he's just kind of like this uber fan of him, and he's like kind of inappropriate with him, to be honest. Like he's always like trying to like mac on him or something like that because Deadpool swings multiple ways in the comic book. So
What does Mac
He's
on
a-
someone mean?
like fuck him.
That's what Mac means?
Well, a little
News to
bit.
me.
Isn't Mac
Well,
a
It's called
name?
mac and cheese.
Yeah,
Get with
mac
the
and
times.
cheese.
There's other yeah.
So if I
but
say
he wants
mac,
the mac and cheese.
if I say
on.
mac and
But
cheese,
no,
it means
he-
I'm gonna fuck
they
my
just
cheese.
they just have a very different type of relationship, and Spider-Man just gets like really annoyed with them
Fuck
and everything
my
like
cheese.
That's where that term came from. It's from the 1700s.
that. Taylor, you-
Haven't you heard the term, macaroni in a pot? It's a wet ass pussy,
Mhm.
You're
I'm gonna
mac
get
your
the
cheese.
I'm gonna get the definition. Taylor, you go ahead. What do you feel about this?
Yeah, I feel like if I were to pair Deadpool up or like with any MCU character, it 100% would be Drax. I think that would easily be my pick. I think the two of them would just be I probably would break laughing. My body would just snap in half from laughing so hard.
Oh,
So-
that's Paul.
What was that noise? Oh, it was Taylor
Okay, so
snapping.
Mac can be used as a verb, the act of flirting or hitting on girls.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I thought. I didn't think it was straight to fucking.
You'll-
I thought it
you'll-
was hitting
Okay,
on.
No. Wait a second here. Is anybody just flirting? Like, I guess some people are flirting for the fun, but the majority of people are flirting to make that go further to me. So I feel like
No.
it kind of
Just
works.
something to do.
Yeah, it's just something to do. You want to toy with someone, you flirt with them. But anyways,
You wanna
like I'm
toy
not.
with
Or
someone?
it-
Yeah, I'm
in
not
some
gonna.
What
cases,
does that mean?
Taylor
You wanna
Taylor
toy
already
with
has his
someone?
girlfriend and he won't hit on her anymore.
Oh
So,
no, no! I hit on her, but
Oh, you maxed on her.
I Mac on her. I'm like, okay. So it'll be late at night. I'll boil some
Shit.
water. I'll be like, hey, I got some mac and cheese here for you, Madison.
Oh.
But yeah,
So
no,
Drax.
Drax.
He's gonna break
Okay.
your body in two.
I feel like that wouldn't be funny. I'm sorry.
Oh no, for me that's right up my alley. It's just a whole bunch of like innocent humor forced with forced like crazy breaking fourth wall humor. Oh, I couldn't even imagine that. That's like taking Dave Chappelle and Mr. Bean, putting them together.
What
I'd love to see that. So, yeah, I think when you have this Deadpool movie, Deadpool 3, in the MCU, I 100% think they're just going to be going, like, off the walls, like, crazy. Like, it's going to be him totally connected into the universe, just all these characters, like, references, everything. I think he's going to be shouting out to, like, some crazy, rude, obscure jokes towards the franchise. Like, just do it. He tiptoed a little bit about making fun of, like, the MCU, I feel like, in Deadpool 2. But I felt like it was a lot more, like, 20th Century Fox X-Men jokes and like DC jokes and stuff like that. So now he can just go full swing and yeah, rated R, that's perfect. Keep it that way. They're not recasting him, which I think is a huge statement because again, it only makes sense too. You recast him and people are going to riot over that. They're going to be super pissed because he is Deadpool. He is the Deadpool. Again, I give them credit where they could do that Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, but they already ended his story. Again, they've ended Captain America's story, as we already talked, but that'll soon be revealed.
Was there a rumor that he was supposed to be recast?
No, not unless Taylor knows a scoop that I don't.
I think it was
No.
just more of like when Disney bought Fox, it was like, what are they going to do with
Yeah.
Deadpool?
The
I think
elephant
that's
in
what-
the room.
Yeah.
Taylor, is Kevin Feige gonna have a cameo in this movie?
I'm waiting for his cameo. Like
That's what I'm pitching.
I feel like Ryan Reynolds is again. He's sitting Feige down in Starbucks, and Feige's like, "Pitch me your Deadpool 3, Ryan." And Ryan's like, "Oh, Kevin, you know you got to be in this movie, right?" So
I think he has to. That's why I pitched on Marvel Alliance. I didn't pitch this on Marvel Alliance either. I think what I've thought about now is with the Multiverse of Madness, I want his movie to be about trying to get into the MCU. Like that's what I want to be, like really fourth wall breaking. Like the whole movie is him going through universes maybe because he knows the Fox universe is closing because they got bought out. So he's just trying to get to the MCU so
Well,
he
they
can
set him
survive.
up to do it. He went to other universes in Deadpool 2, so why not, right?
Yeah. What do you feel happens with his supporting cast, like Vanessa and Colossus? Do you think they come along, or do you think they kind of ditch them and just kind of have Deadpool / like Ryan Reynolds just kind of on his own, and they kind of like it's still the same character, it's Deadpool 3, but kind of like a fresh coat of paint, and kind of the way they did with J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah in Spider-Man Far From Home. It's like, yeah, he's Jonah, but it's like it's a different Jonah.
The Sony thing is very different, but in this case, I feel like they could bring him along, but at the end of the day, they're not going to shy away from recasting same actors as new characters. Again, Josh Brolin coming in, I think that would be funny, at least for Deadpool's sake, because of the jokes he could do again, building off of that. But I do think that they might not be inclined to do that with Josh Brolin and such. Colossus, I think they probably would save him. I think a lot of these other X-Men characters, they would hold off on the back burner because they're going to incorporate X-Men somehow. So let them do it at their own pace. Deadpool is that exception because he is that fourth wall breaker. He is traveling dimensions now, as we've seen. So they're obviously going to get jiggy with it. What they're going to do, it's beyond me, but it's going to be good, and I'm going to love it.
Kirklin.
Yeah, I was just, I mean, as we were talking about, I was remembering that what Deadpool can do now after, at the end of Deadpool 2, when he's jumping all around. Frick, is this how we get Chris Evans in the MCU? Is how we get Chris Evans back in the Deadpool movie?
I did think about that. I would just laugh if it was just that. And I would so be down if it was just a cameo or a scene or something like that of those two together. Because I do think the whole, everyone's joked about, but like Cap always talked about language. And then if he meets Deadpool, like,
so
quintessential meeting.
That would be my MCU character pick, pair up with him. If it didn't have to be MCU, I still want to see Wolverine.
Yeah.
Give me that. I think that would be amazing. Even if this is like the only time we see him again, Hugh Jackman reprise that role, I think that'd be amazing. And just getting into my overall thoughts about Deadpool being in the MCU and R-rated, I think that's just like a gift from the Holy Father Feige. Almost tongue twisted myself there. That is just, it's so amazing. I feel like if they did the route of staying away from the MCU, it would just be like indirect jokes about him like not being there, and him being right in there, right in the MCU. It doesn't, like, he can just hit these jokes head on. He doesn't have to beat around the bush. I think it's going to be amazing. I think they're going to do it in a really creative way where, yes, this is in the MCU, but you also don't have to watch this movie to see the rest of the films, because
I've heard
otherwise
lots of people shouting that out as a way, because I brought up this in Marvel Alliance. What do you do with Disney Plus? Like that movie, because all the other Infinity Saga movies are on, like the whole, other than Spider-Man, because it's a Sony movie, all of them on Disney Plus are there, but Disney Plus doesn't have rated R content.
Well, what about what's that thing that's coming out? Spark
We're getting Star, but America doesn't get it. So America has Hulu. So I guess the take is you just throw in there. Yeah. What are you laughing about over there, Taylor?
I'm just so happy we're getting Stars. That's just so exciting.
Next month.
Next month.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I can't
Sneaking
wait.
up on us.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just so amazing. I'm so hyped. I'm so excited to see what they do with it. I never thought about seeing Feige like on screen before. I just always see him as a behind the camera guy, not in front of the camera guy. I think that'd be funny, especially if Deadpool was like wearing like the Feige hat or something, just totally jumping in there. I don't know. I'm so excited for this. So great news.
My Feige pitch was that he tries to sit Deadpool down and tells him that he doesn't want him to swear as much and things like that. Yeah. Like he gives him the whole like MCU pitch, and then Deadpool fucking kills him like on screen. Like I just think that would be so fun if they were to do that. Like I feel like Feige has to be in this movie because he's just such a known name now, and I just feel like that's like if you really want to break the fourth wall, like that's how you do it. Yeah, and like for any MCU character, it is like Spider-Man for me just because they're comic book history, but. Yeah, I'm honestly down for anything. I just think the Deadpool 3 movie, if it is in the MCU, which like that's what he's saying, should be tons of fun. Just like just like hit after hit, just a good time. Taylor Field, you want to show your quality?
What's that term or that phrase? It's like don't shit where you eat or something like that. Is that the term?
Yeah, I don't know how to imply it here at all.
So-
But I'm excited to hear you tell me.
Maybe that. Maybe that's like Feige. Maybe that's
I
why
get
he
it.
hasn't been in any of his movies because he didn't want to shit where he eats. You know.
Well, there's not been a reason to. I've never
His money
called.
flakes that he eats
I've
after
never
making
called.
these
I've never
glorious
been like,
movies.
you know what, Feige should be an Endgame in the battle there. No, but this is just like with the fourth wall
As
breaking.
himself with his hat
Well,
coming out of the
it does
portal.
work with Travis's pitch of like him trying to get into the MCU, and so he's got to like meet with all these different people from. Maybe they bring like a frozen Walt Disney out of Frozen to talk with him or something. I
I
don't know.
thought you meant like Frozen, like the Frozen characters. I'm like, I don't think they're doing that. Like, I don't. They're just do some scene where he just like skull fucks like Elsa or something. They just have this.
They could have him
Whoa.
like they could have
Whoa.
him walking around the park and like hitting on the princesses, like the actresses.
I don't know if they'll let him do this, but I really, at least in the promotion, want him I want him to do something with Mickey Mouse. I really want them to like let him just because that like I don't know what it would be, but just seeing Deadpool and Mickey Mouse together
Just
is
want
just
him to
like a
skull
sight
fuck
for-
him or something? Is that what you're getting at?
yeah,
It's like-
yeah.
Polar opposites, like such extreme ends.
Yes, and that's gonna be like just seeing that on screen, like oh Deadpool, like Deadpool just like shooting him or something like that. Like I don't think they will. I don't think you're gonna see any Mickey Mouse like killed, but I feel like at least some jokes are warranted. So yeah,
Do you think
Well,
Deadpool's
we'll-
gonna come out one of the portals? And then be like, oh fuck this, jump back out.
or it'd be fun if he came out like after the battle. He's like, oh, I
Yeah.
missed it all. You know, like I do think I think there's like even that I'd be so down for him like going through
Totally.
the events of the MCU, and like he's kind of like in the background doing something, you know, but
Yeah.
he just
I-
misses or can't get there.
I feel like just the interdimensional potential that he has, like that could really play into anything, right? Like he could be jumping around while they're finding the stones, like like it could be really anything. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, he's like on the cliff while Natasha's falling off. He's like, "No." Even though they won't do that because that's his ex-wife, you know. Like it's, I always forget that him and ScarJo were like married for a year. It's very
Whoa,
strange.
I never knew that.
Real life?
Yep.
Wow.
What?
It's
what
very
happened?
strange.
The more you know.
What? I don't know. I ask him all the time in text. He just doesn't tell me. I don't fucking know what happened. What do you think?
You said you'd tell me at Starbucks that you never showed up.
Yeah, after his Deadpool pitch. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to
Vancouver Starbucks.
our second ad break. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is turning out to be a longer cast than I expected.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
We're-
yeah.
we're-
What,
we're
hour
like halfway
20?
through. Hour 20, somewhere like that. Let's talk about let's see.
You
What's
gotta
in the
find the
news
list.
today?
What? I have the list.
Just look at the
I'm just-
thumbnail. It's got everything on it.
What? We're gonna talk about this. It's just a touchy subject. So Ray Fisher.
Oh,
So if people don't know,
I don't know
me and
anything about this, so I
Yeah,
might need some context.
I'm gonna do the whole situation. Me and Taylor
Okay.
talked about this months ago when this happened. And it's so funny, Taylor, like when we talked about it, to like where it is now, like how much it's blown up and like how much of like an ordeal. So Ray Fisher, he played Cyborg. Months ago, he put out this one tweet that just stated that he and the cast, he didn't be specific, but just him and the cast had suffered abuse at the hands of Joss Whedon. I don't think it was anything of physical abuse, but it was just like bad onset treatment, everything like that, blah, blah, blah. And I don't mean blah, blah, blah to discredit. I just mean like that's just a bunch of stuff.
quote
And then
unquote
the-
what he said. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna read some quotes that he did, and it kind of gives the whole situation. And then there's two producers, Jeff Johns and John Berg, and he was put an investigation against these three guys about what the onset treatment of Justice League. There's this DC president he took over a few years ago named Walter Hamada, and he was in the middle of the investigation. So this investigation happened, blah blah blah. Joss Whedon left a lot of projects. I'm using quotations. In the public, he got to leave them. It's probably because of this investigation. But still, Warner Brothers never came out and said he did anything wrong. Joss Whedon never had to apologize for that. He just said, oh, I'm really tired and I'm going to stop working on these projects, which, all right, dude, you made 2 Avengers movies. I don't know how tired you can get, but whatever, fine. So, and Ray Fisher's claims were all about like abuse, racial abuse, things like that. And then Walter Hamada, who's the DC president, he claimed that during this investigation, he was kind of trying to sway it one way of like, hey, I'm fine with it if we get rid of like Joss Whedon and John Berg, but like we want to keep Jeff Johns. He's a guy, Jeff Johns, he came from comic book and then he started producing movies. So I guess there was just this conversation, and what it resulted in last week is Ray Fisher saying that in any production, if the current DC president was involved, he wasn't going to be involved with it. And then last week they said, well, they re-upped him for 2 years, so not a great sign. And then Ray Fisher put out this statement, and it's a long one, but I'm going to read it because, like Kirklin said, he doesn't know much about this. It kind of gives the whole situation of everything, man. It's not this, like, I know why he put it like this, but it's like to zoom in on my phone is not great in this at all. Okay. And then this is what happened. I received official confirmation from Warner Brothers Pictures that they have decided to remove me from the cast of The Flash, which he was supposed to be in. I strongly disagree with their decision, but is one that is unsurprising. Despite the misconception, Cyborg's involvement in The Flash was much larger than a cameo. I do not mourn the lost opportunity, or while I mourn the opportunity to bring the character back to life, and I'm paraphrasing some of this, addressing the actions of Walter Hamada will prove to be much more important of a contribution. He talks about some things I just talked about, like Joss Whedon quietly exiting, stuff like that. And he talks about the situation as far as the meeting they had, and he tried to smooth over, and he said like it was above my pay grade and everything like that. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because there's been like a big conversation online as far as so this guy brings up, and obviously these claims, we don't get to see the investigation. There's some people that take the slant like maybe he made this all up. I do not believe that. I do think this guy's telling the truth because I don't know why he would be. But I guess the conversation has been, especially, I think we're in a different camp because we're not the hardcore DCU people, but there's been a lot of people of like, how can they support this movie going forward, The Flash, when there's this situation of, it doesn't look good that there's a black man who wants to have investigated things about potential racism claims, and then the result is you're no longer in the movie. And that's what I was going to ask you guys as far as like, what do you think happens in this in the future as far as like with the cast of The Flash and things like that? Like, and Taylor, I'll start with you because you love tackling these topics. But I mean, like, how do you like? What do you? Because like. How what is Warner Brothers and what does everybody do going forward? Because I feel like obviously this is not a good look. Again, we're not privy to everything in this. They can have a decision, but there's also like a history of Hollywood of covering up a lot of things. And like even today, Warner Brothers had this other story break where they were covering up some like some sexual harassment and stuff like that. So Hollywood has been known to be a shady place. And there's been lots of people saying like they're going to boycott The Flash, things like that. And if you want to, great. I just say don't get mad at any other people that don't do it. And I also think that if you're saying that, actually stick by the words, because I feel like there's a lot of people that won't. I feel like it's a lot of backlash right now. But there was tons of backlash last night, like Ray Fisher's name. A bunch of hashtags were trending just about like, hey, this isn't right, that this guy wanted this looked into and he's gone. Even though I think the bad thing, Ray Fisher said that if the president was a part of any production, I don't want to be involved. That kind of shoots yourself in the foot because, well, if he's the president, then he's probably going to be involved. So, Taylor, I'll throw to you first. What do you think going forward? And some people have brought up, like, what happens with Ben Affleck or Ezra Miller or Michael Keaton when the Flash movie rolls around and press want to ask these questions? Like puts them in quite an awkward position. And people speculate, do you think they step up for each other? Like, none of the cast has spoken out except for Jason Momoa. He has talked about like the stuff that happened on the Justice League set was like messed up, and he says there needs to be investigations and stuff like that happening. So, like, it's a mess. I threw a lot of you there, but what do you think as far as just on the overalls? What I threw you, like, what happens in the future?
So yeah, you're completely right. Hollywood is shady as fuck, and there's a lot of shit that they don't let us see. That's really, really. It's it's just really, really messed up. So in terms of Hollywood, like concealing things and stuff, like 110%. There's so much shit that, I mean, maybe hopefully in my lifetime it'll get exposed, because it should be. It's disgusting and it's really, really inhumane. So in the term and scenario of this case, I love a good conspiracy. Oh man, I am all about conspiracy. So when you have someone who is trying to shed light on a scenario, and then all of a sudden he's been let go from the project that he's working on, I mean, you might as well just paint the bullseye on your forehead. Like you guys look totally at fault for doing something like that. Like again, you could be. You could try to just hide up because you don't want like bad press or bad publicity for your movie you're working on. Sure, again,
but they're getting that now.
Disney did that with what's his pickle, James Gunn, of course, over the tweets, yeah, and again, different scenario to some degree, but they were just trying to protect themselves, and so they got rid of him. And of course they brought him back. I doubt that Warner Brothers is gonna bring his last. It was Ray Fisher is his full name.
Ray Fisher, yeah.
So I doubt they're gonna bring him back any future time soon. So yeah, he's doing the right thing. He's left the project again by their own will. They removed him from the project, so he's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
He's pursuing this, and I think that's what he needs to do, because this needs to be brought out. This needs to be dealt with, because it's wrong. It's clearly much more deeper. The fact that, though, that people are saying they're boycotting it because of this, honestly, I was feeling uneasy way before. Well, no, it was because this actually stems for a while ago, since they started talking about this. But like I wasn't fully aware of it. The thing that really turned me off about the Flash was seeing Ezra Miller like recorded like beating people up and stuff like that.
Okay. First of all, it was him choking one woman.
Okay,
which
yeah,
is
that's really bad.
Yes, it's not great either. It's not great. But
Kirklin doesn't even know about this.
No,
Oh,
I
my God.
haven't heard about this either.
I love when we talk about the podcast network people, and because they're just like following us daily. And then when I talk about Geek, it's like, man, we were the most like window shoppers. Like, we're just here for the fun and good times. And like, so there was a video that came out of. It looked like he was maybe drunk at a bar or something like that, like outside a bar. And some people have said that we don't know, because no one's ever made a statement about it. This woman's never made a statement about it. Ezra's never. Just this video came out of him like choking a woman, but like she gets pushed down or something like that. Taylor, if you're moving your fingers, please do not pull that up on the YouTube, because that would get that.
No, I'm not gonna do such a thing.
Okay, but no, but there was, but people. We don't know if it was this fan getting in his face. He was clearly intoxicated. I'm not. That was a different conversation.
You don't like
I'm not a fan of that.
Fantastic Beasts?
What?
I'm sorry, I was just making a bad joke.
But like I really want an answer for that too. I've been saying that since DC Fandom, that like I wish they would address this, because I still feel like if there's a video of me that came out tomorrow of me pushing a woman to the ground with my hands wrapped around her throat, if it was not what it seemed to be, I would be talking about it immediately. I would not. I would
immediately.
Immediately, yes. Like I would be like I would have a statement out like, no, this is not what it seems. So I don't know, and that's where the flat, but like, because like I guess the boycott thing is just, especially because for Taylor, I think the people that are doing the boycott are the people that there's people that love DC but are the hardcore like DCU Snyder fans. But like, because this is their Cyborg, right? And it's very interesting though, because the Snyder Cut comes out next month or in 2 months from now, and that means promotion is going to start coming, and Ray Fisher's all over that, because he's, as Zack Snyder said, he's the heart of that film. So it is interesting to like what pickle if they get themselves in pickle, because like you guys didn't know about this, our parents aren't going to know about this, the mainstream media is not going to know about this at all. They might hear about it a little bit, but I guess it's the only way I could see him coming back is if there is a shift in power, like somehow that president goes in between now and the Flash filming, and maybe there's some changes happening. But Jessica, there's been a lot thrown at you there. Do you have any takes as far as what's been going on with this stuff?
So I just want to ask first, and I mean, obviously this is probably going to go to Travis, because I think you'd be the only one that would know. Has there been any big things of, obviously there was previous movies, but has there been anything about racial misconduct within Disney and their filming of, like Black Panther or something like that, that has come to light, and how they've handled it?
Nothing too huge. I remember Anthony Mackie talking about, who's Falcon, new Captain America, said that he still wished he had seen a lot more black cast members on set. He said, and he even said this in the public, said that like with Black Panther, there's a bunch of black actors, cast members, but he's like, I felt like they just did that because that was a black movie. I want to see more people that I can recognize around, because I just feel like it's very white. And then people have also brought up this like Pixar thing where it even happened with Soul. I think Soul a little less, but if you look at their past, all like they have these black characters, but then like 10 minutes in the movie they get changed into something else and they're never black. Princess and the Frog, Soul. There's another one too that has been brought up as far as like it's kind of like, oh yeah, we have this black character, but then right away it's not. It's like it's a frog. It's something else. So, but I don't think anything as far as this, but there's could be hush things, but nothing as far as in the public, as far as I think more the mainstream, like the Star Wars Disney side, even though John Boyega had hinted that he he had talked about publicly that we don't know exactly his issues, but he had felt a little ousted in the Star Wars trilogy. So it has been talked about at Disney, like here and there, and sometimes. So it has. I think it's probably more of a universal Hollywood thing as well, unfortunately.
All right. So yeah, so nothing quite as big as this.
No.
So I think that. I mean, yeah, so just kind of to compare it as to what you're saying, I mean, I watched Mulan with my family, and I, mentioned to my mom about how a lot of people boycotted this because of Mulan. And she had no idea what that was I was talking about at all. So once again, it's going to be the same thing. If people are boycotting this movie, our parents or whoever, they're not going to know why. If we were talking and you came up to me and you're like, hey, so what about that Ray Fisher thing? I'd be like, I don't know who that is. I'm sorry. Not that I'm the best with actor names, but still. I think that it's a hard place because they are early enough that they haven't necessarily done a ton with them. It's not like, they're 6 or 7 movies in and he's this huge face and this huge name, like if someone were to say there was problems with Chris Evans, everyone's going to know who that is. Whereas, like I said, Ray Fisher is not really as known, but I do think that they're in a hard spot as in if all of a sudden he is replaced 1-2 movies in, then people are going to Google, okay, well, why did this person change?
Yeah.
And that's going to bring it to light even more, as opposed to them trying to sweep it under the rug, which is what I'm sure they would prefer to do.
Yeah, and that's why as of right now, it's just that Cyborg's been written out, because I agree with you. I don't think they'll recast at all, because I think that creates even more of a PR nightmare. I think they'll just avoid the character and go, oh, we'll find a way to get him out of the script, because, yeah, you're exactly right, because people go, oh, why did he leave? And then they don't want that, which is unfortunate, but
I mean, especially at the time right now with, the Black Lives Matter, and there's a lot of racial equality movements going on, you would think that if someone's trying to bring to light that there is these problems going on, that it would, especially right now, carry a lot more weight than even 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. Kirklin, you have to solve all this in your statement.
I'm excited. Jumping in with my extremely limited knowledge.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm still unclear exactly what happened. Especially, I mean, it's tough to give my fully confident feelings on it if I don't know like all of the factors to play here. Obviously, anytime there's
the reason we hadn't talked about, because like me and talked about when he did that initial statement, and it's been going on since June or July, but the reason we're talking about now is how we haven't talked about every week is because this has actually like impacted the movies as far as, okay, he was going to be in Flash, but now he's not, so that's why we haven't made it like a weekly or double weekly thing as far as talking, because it was like, well, I don't know where this is going. That's why check out DC Alliance on the podcast network. They talked about every week because they're DC focused, but with this now it's like, well, now he's officially he's not coming back for Flash, or I'd say Cyborg in the foreseeable future, because like I said, when he says I'm not going to do production with this guy as president, and then the week after he says that, they give him a contract for 2 years longer, this president's like, well, it seems like now every DC thing going forward in the future is going to be with this guy, so it's kind of a rock and hard place situation, and then they part ways with him. So that's why it's you find a little bit like later on, but now it's like something that's actually affecting the movies.
No, 100%, and I think it'd be pretty crazy, honestly, if like something did come to light and it would be a serious like high executive change around where like say this guy gets fired or something, and then this sorry, what's the actor's name?
Ray Fisher.
Chris
Evans.
I opened up the YouTube and all I saw was Chris Evans, so my mind just went there. But
yeah, he's looking a little pixely there, Taylor. Chris Evans. I'm not gonna lie.
Which Chris Evans?
The Chris Evans that was by our social media links.
What do you mean it looks pixelated? No, he doesn't.
Kirkland, does he look pixely on your screen?
No, not too bad. No.
It's just Travis's internet.
Yeah, this is my internet then. Awesome. Continue.
Yeah, so I think that would be honestly like crazy if Ray Fisher came back because there was like a huge shakeup. Unfortunately, I don't think that'll happen. Again, it's tough for me to say too because I just don't know. I'm really not too informed on this. But yeah, it's definitely a dicey situation going on. It's definitely not the first time, and unfortunately probably won't be the last time that we hear about stuff like this going on in Hollywood, on production sets and stuff like that. But yeah.
Do you think Feige's opening up his checkbook? Get Ray Fisher on the MCU train?
I don't think he's opened up his checkbook, but it's difficult because that's the bad thing of Hollywood, that he's spoken out so much that some people will look at him as hard to work with, or they'll worry about working with him.
I don't
But
think
it's like-
so, because that's the same as like Nolan. Nolan's voicing how like his opinion, and people are going to look at him as hard to work with. They're going to
Not
want to
about
work with him.
race issues. Not about
Well,
race issues.
No, but
and
he's
Nolan's
attacking the
also-
company, right? That's even
Okay,
worse.
No, but
also
what's a Bottega or whatever his from?
Boyega, John Boyega.
Yeah, I mean, he voiced out a whole shit ton during the BLM movement
Mhm.
there, and Disney still stood behind him.
It is a case, but when you bring up Nolan, there's three things. One, he's white, so he always gets the benefit of the doubt. Two, he is Christopher Nolan. Like Jessica said, many people don't know who Ray Fisher is. People know, I think a lot more people know who Christopher Nolan is than Ray Fisher, as someone that made the Dark Knight trilogy, Inception, like these classic films that are big,
Tenet.
right? Yeah, Tenet. And then two is like three is like it's against Warner Brothers, but it is like in a business sense of like, hey, I want movies to be in theater, not hey, I was racially mistreated, and like I've tweeted about it and launched investigations and stuff like that. He just wrote a letter to Wall Street Journal being like, I think movies should be in the theaters, and that's all it is. So I don't think right away, and I don't think Ray Fisher's a talented guy. I remember we're gonna do Just League commentary track for Patreon coming up, and I remember the first Just League. I really liked him in that. I'm excited to see him in the actual Snyder cut, but I don't know if he's that big. Again, you still it's not like a James Gunn either. I think you still inherit some of that drama, but that's unfortunate because that shouldn't necessarily be drama if Ray Fisher is telling the truth, which I do believe in, everything like that. So it's just like. It's unfortunate, but that's like you said, Hollywood, and sometimes even the great Kevin Feige might be like, I don't know if I want to have anything to do with that drama.
Even if he wants to, he might get pushback from board members or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, we'll see. Hopefully, there's some changes in the future, but yeah,
I could see it being a good move for Disney if they pull him in and he starts tweeting out, this is how a company should treat people, or.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fine line.
Disney merch.
He's
It's
just
repping.
yeah, he's macking on Disney. All right. Anything else, movie or TV wise, to throw out, or we're gonna get into some video games. So Jessica, I'm gonna let you talk about whatever you want to first, because I don't know. You can stick around for it if you want, but one of those topics we're gonna talk a lot about the Star Wars games. So if you want to stick around, great. But if not, you have the floor of because you said there's two things that I forgot on the rundown. So what were the two things that I forgot on the rundown, Jessica?
So first and most importantly, because I never get to talk about Pokemon anymore, we have
You
a
have a whole
release.
chat.
Yeah, I meant on the cast. Come on now.
Okay.
Pokemon Snap for Switch got a release date of April 30th, so actually coming up very quick here.
Perfect. So then Star Wars is making these games.
Good night.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Travis. Keep going.
No,
Let's hear your opinion on Pokemon Snap.
I always said to you I want Pokemon Snap when we had the Wii U, but I guess Switch it does work. I think it's smart. I think it's not too late, but it just was always one of those I was waiting, like when they get announced. When they get announced, it's very popular. And when did you say it was coming out?
April 30th.
April 30th. So yeah, I actually don't know any big games coming out recently. And Pokemon just sells no matter what. So do they have like a regular edition they're still putting in that Switch version that's like a Game Boy or whatever, a handheld version, right? They're still doing that for the Switch?
The Switch Lite?
Or whatever Switch. No, but just
you
like
mean
in
like
general.
the Pokemon Sword and Shield equivalent, the main games?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're
They
still
are
doing
doing
those.
that, right? That hasn't happened yet?
Well, they've done
Well,
Sword
wait.
and Shield, but they'll be like the expansions that they're working on right now for those games.
So wait, there is this is how you guys are a Ray Fisher. This is me with Pokemon. So with that, people are talking about there's gonna be that base game, like the way there's a base game for Pokemon for the handhelds. That's already come out for the Switch.
Yeah, came out a
Yeah.
while ago.
Wow. Okay. Well then, never mind. Well then, yeah, it makes sense that it's coming out Pokemon Snap because they've already put that out. I have no idea.
I think it makes
It's
more
nice.
sense for the Switch as opposed to the Wii U as well. I mean, you've got like the ice cube technology, so you can tell how many ice cubes are in your cup, and I think it's just
Milk
built
that
for it.
cow, you know. We still never, when we get Gauntlet back and we're allowed to see each other again, one of us, we should just all chip in and buy 1-2 Switch so we can just play these games already.
No, that's a podcast funds only game. I'm not contributing any of my hard-earned money to that.
Fine, maybe we'll do that for the next stream. We'll do that. But it's just like, we've always memed about that since the press release, like the press conference of the original Switch of 1-2 Switch. We've never played it, but I want to feel those ice cubes,
You know what? For some reason, the price of it never goes down. It's one of those games that I was like, I'm going to buy this game when it goes on sale or like when it's, cheaper, but it just never goes down. And I don't understand why.
Fanboy Clay said Diamond and Pearl are coming out soon. Yeah. So are those for Switch or those handhelds again?
That is still rumored as far as I know. Yeah.
Come on, Clay. It's still rumored. What's going
Clay,
on?
Come on.
Yeah.
It's Fanboy Clay, by the way, who hosts Ranger Alliance and shaved his head for the extra live stream. So,
shouts out to you.
Yeah, Clay. Isn't it like aren't you on Eastern time? Isn't it almost like
he's staying up for WandaVision? I bet.
Burning the midnight oil.
Yeah. Are you staying up for WandaVision? Because I remember after the Mandalorian finale, he hit me up. He's like, "Are you guys going live?" I'm like, "No, Kirklin fell asleep."
Sorry, Clay.
Kirklin's got his shifty eyes going.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Just to go back to that, Diamond and Pearl has still only been rumored. It is rumored from a number of different sources, but nothing that is concrete enough that, like, kind of like you said, like there's like the B tier or C tier. Nothing A tier has said it's rumor yet.
Is it Switch or handheld?
Be Switch.
It would be Switch.
I mean, like, I keep forgetting there's not really handheld anymore, I guess, right? Because there was
there's the 3DS is still the last one.
Yeah, okay, that's what I mean. Yeah, I forgot about that.
They did the Switch Lite, which is like a combination between the Switch and a 3DS.
I haven't touched my Switch in ages, so I don't know. You guys have anything to add on it? Pokemon chat galore over here?
I never played the original, like the other Pokemon Snap, because the other one was like, what, N64, was it? Yeah, I never got around to that. The closest I've gotten to playing Pokemon Snap is playing Pokemon Go and actually snapping like screenshots of my Pokemon, like with Madison around and like out in the in my living room. Lucario's just standing in front of the TV and stuff like that. Or I'll be in Walmart and all of a sudden there's a Diglett just right over there in the dairy section.
There's a what?
A Diglett.
You should tell the story about
Travis's reaction.
You made me second guess my words there for a second.
You should tell the story if you're walking around seeing some guy's Diglett out, stuff like. Or is that how or is that how Madison's taking photos of you? Like, oh, show me your Diglett, and it's Taylor naked with a Lucario. Have you done? Have any of you done that? Is there any naked picture? Wow, you guys gotta live a little, Come on now.
What naked?
I've been taking a bunch of naked pictures with those Pokemon.
You mean naked pictures of Pokemon or naked pictures?
No, you said like you'll
pictures of Diglets.
Yeah. No, you said like you'd see a Pokemon and it's like standing there doing something, and then you take a picture. But like you should jump in there if Masses take a picture and you're naked, then you're naked with the Lucario.
No, because that's some bestiality stuff going on.
No, it's not. You're not fucking the Pokemon.
No, but I don't want to be naked with my Diglett dangling right there, and a frickin' I don't want like a Arcanine or a Ponyta just like.
Oh no, that should be one of our tiers on the OnlyFans when we launch it. It's so funny. I keep making that joke at home, and Emily's like, "You guys aren't actually launching OnlyFans, are you?" I'm like, "No, but I want to do it."
I'll do a scandalous calendar like for charity. If we sell calendar, I'll do scandalous photos like that.
Luckily, we'll see because we're like almost at the 2-hour mark. So we'll see if people are listening. And Fanboy Clay's in the chat. But I wanted to for April. I don't know if COVID will be done, but I wanted to for April Fools announce an OnlyFans and us to do like a scandalous like photo, like the Austin Powers where we don't actually have to be nude. We'll have boxers and stuff on, but like where it's like we're nude, like we got the boxers on, but like something's blocking it to making it look like we're naked. I think we should do that for April Fool's Day.
I'll do it. If we could do it remotely too. Like we could like figure out like our own separate like images and then just like splice them all together in like a quick slideshow. I'm down. We should do it.
And then just freak out everybody. But yeah, anyone? What else is going on with these Diglets?
Kirkland, we haven't asked Kirkland. Do you have any thoughts on Pokemon Snap?
It'll probably be purchased in my household by Shaylin. She is a lot more hardcore on Pokemon Go than I, as you guys probably know.
Oh, yeah.
I've been pretty ghosted on that, chat. I haven't opened the app in a while.
They lied to me. They're like, Kirkland's in there all the time. Taylor told me that once.
Well, he was. Kirkland was.
I
in there
was
actively.
I was very active, and then
There
I
was a
fell
point.
behind, and
Yeah.
then I
Now
mean
it just
it'll
consists of
resurface.
Matt flexing shinies. That's all the chat is now.
Shay's pretty active in there, I think.
Every once in a while, I'll throw out a raid and then no one responds. So I'm just like, okay, I guess that's that.
But,
it says Ranger helmet suggestive photos. You could do that with your clone trooper stuff too, Taylor. Put that on.
Holding my
keep butt
clone
ass
like naked, holding my clone trooper helmet over my groinal.
and then
diglet
hold the
area.
lightsaber by your cock. So like.
Oh, I'll do that. I'll have the lights off and everything. Oh, I'll totally do a shot of that.
Yeah, I want to do that, but there's not a lightsaber big enough for me, so I gotta find. Something else.
You need a floppy one, like
we should
Blue Harvest.
do a X-rated GV calendar here. Sounds like.
Yeah.
Well,
all the
he said
proceeds for
scandalous, but
charity.
now it's okay. But X-rated that's full on
Well,
nudity.
yeah, that's
Scandalous,
actually-
scandalous. All the
That's-
proceeds
yeah,
for charity.
X-rated is like, hey, bend over, spread those cheeks.
Give me extra
that.
life donations.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're gonna love that. Here, buy this nude photos of the Geekverse. Support the kid. Every hospital gets a suggestive calendar from Geekverse. Yeah, I suggest we don't do that with Extra Life.
I don't know. All I'm saying is we put them out in October, November. People get them for Christmas gifts for each other.
I got a good relationship with my printer. I can get them printed for cheap.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like just your printer at home. Like, what the fuck does that
Yeah, I
even
got a
mean?
good relationship with my printer.
Are you fucking it on the side? Yeah.
He's macking it.
Yeah, back it hard.
Matt
Mac
needs
and
to look
cheese.
out. And then what else, Jessica? A game got delayed that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, Harry Potter game.
Oh, I was looking forward to that.
You know, build
Come
it
on.
up. Build it up. Kirkland didn't know about
Harry
this.
Potter game. Yeah, you know what? I'm honestly, when games get delayed, I think it's just being in adulthood and now having 2 kids and a busy career, and now this podcast is like a second job. When a game gets delayed, I'm like, good, more time. I'm like, more time
Like
for me
actually
to.
though, yeah.
Yeah, like more time for me to try and make time to play this game, because I look at it and especially because every fucking game nowadays is a role playing game, so they know they're gonna be like 40 hours just to get to chapter 2. So it's like, but no, I'm looking very much forward to it. Even though Emily says she wants to play it first, I still think I might just buy 2 copies and then like return mine after, because she can play on the Xbox and I'll play on the PS5. But I'm looking really forward to it. I love the idea of choosing your own house. Like, all that stuff sounds great. So it was disappointing in that sense, but like I said, in adulthood, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I got more time. I'll figure it out and delay it and make it good. So
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is in theory, I mean, if you're delaying it, you're spending more time on it. I mean, look what happened when people rushed Cyberpunk.
Oh yeah, nothing wrong there.
Oh, that got delayed.
I guess,
Oh yeah, it did.
yeah. I guess the 2 things, like if Taylor wants to throw in his tinfoil hat as conspiracy, is they want to release it with the movie because the new movie comes out next year. But then also there's been tinfoil of like they want to put it off to try and like wait for J.K. Rowling's comments to like calm down, and they're like hoping she doesn't pop off again with like, hey, I hate this certain group of people, and then she just drops it. Like, there has been that theory of like maybe they're trying to distance themselves a little bit still from her, and I could see that. I honestly, if you were to ask me, I'd still think it's the game. I think that's probably it, but I could see multiple reasons. I don't even know if time at the movie's a great idea, because I just, that movie's gonna be shit, and Mads is deciding to tank his career, but that's great. Go get that money, Mads. But Kirk, what about you?
What are you asking?
What are your thoughts on the Hogwarts being delayed?
Yeah, over the holidays, Shay and I, we binged Harry Potter, and I was definitely getting pretty hyped for like looking forward to it, because I think the initial release, was this spring, something like that.
No, there was no date. It was just 2020.
Oh, okay. I think I was just assuming then sometime like summer or spring, but
Yeah,
it got pushed back 2022. Honestly,
Still no spring or fall or anything with that. Just straight 2022.
Yeah,
December
okay.
31st, 2020.
yeah, probably. And then we're gonna get delayed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to say like my hype for games these days have gone down, but I definitely feel the Travis. Whenever a game gets delayed, it's like, okay, I don't have to like, try and get I don't have to try and sell my kidney to get PS5 or something right now. Like, I can actually be patient and like wait for them to actually come back in stock and, possibly get a sale or something. So I'm definitely going to be getting that day one though. Ever since I saw the trailer, it just looks so awesome. The idea of it, I think it's been a long time coming, honestly, to get an awesome Harry Potter game again. I think the only other Harry Potter game I played was like Philosopher's Stone, like for PS1 or something.
Chamber of Secrets, baby. That shit's good.
Oh, I still have like nightmares of like running away from the troll that level. Oh my god, it was literally like a horror game for a child. Like it was so scary, just such a high intense moment. But I don't know why I'm just going venting on my PS1 Harry Potter game. But
Fine,
anyways,
Kirkland.
Thank you.
We all need something to talk about. You got to show your quality.
I do have to show my quality.
You know what?
I think this game will be quality.
I'm just fucking sick and tired of Disney Plus and their whole we got to drop shit at midnight. Like it's fucking midnight already Eastern. They don't need to wait for us. Like I don't get it. I just checked. I was hoping
They're watching it.
No, I know WandaVision's not dropped. I just hate that it drops like actually at midnight. Like drop it like the fucking boys does at like 9 p.m. our time and it's midnight Eastern. Like fuck off already.
Has it dropped like in Australia back east or?
I don't think so.
Oh.
Back east. Is that what you call Australia? Like seriously?
Yeah, Kyle's out back east with his mates.
Well, we only got an hour and a half. You know what we should have done? We should have just stayed on. We should just stay on until it's WandaVision's here. That'll keep Kirkland up. Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly,
I'm definitely
really
not staying on for that Star Wars conversation then.
Taylor. Yeah, Taylor. We could play some games. Taylor, do you have anything to add on Hogwarts Legacy?
I am very much intrigued about this game, and everything I've heard from it, it sounds awesome. Very much excited for it. Probably a game I'd honestly would get to like not play as hardcore as like I play COD, but let Madison like dive in and play on my off time. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I'd let
what a
her
privileged
on
girlfriend.
my off time play this game.
Well, my on time's gonna be spent doing Warzone with you, Travis. I mean, but Madison's way bigger of a Harry Potter fan than I am. Like, she's gone through the books way more times than I have, and the audiobooks and the movies, all that jazz. Much more fan than I am, and I respect that. So if she wants to play a Harry Potter game, I'm gonna get that game so she can dive into it.
Taylor, how many times have you read the books? You said she's gone through the books more times than you.
Yeah, I've read through them none.
Okay.
It's not hard.
That's what I was expecting, and I respect your
So
honesty.
I think she's done it like 4 or 5 times or something like that. I have to like
Jeez.
ask her. But
Wonder
That's
why you
impressive,
backed
but
on
it's
her.
also like a bad comparison to you. That's
Oh,
just
I
like
know.
you're literally at 0.
I'm at 0%. She's at least 500% right now. So, but
Taylor, can I add? Okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna say like I would want if I could have a Harry Potter game, I want EA Sports to make a Quidditch game because their sports games are fantastic, and I would love a full-on Quidditch game like NHL style and like Madden style where you're like beating the other players as like with your beaters and stuff and.
Quidditch is the dumbest fucking sport.
No, it's
in the
not.
world. Yes,
I
it
love
is.
Kate.
They
I
literally
want to
play for nothing. All they got to do is get this fucking gold ball in the game's
They
practice.
don't get it every game.
They don't get it
you
every
asshole.
game. Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Honestly.
not according to the movies, so fuck off. So, and that's what they'd base it
Open
off
a
of.
book, Travis.
What?
Come on.
How
Open
many
a
times
book.
have you read Harry Potter?
Yeah, so
Kirkland?
Taylor has to open a book too.
None.
Yeah, and so is Kirkland. So fuck off. But like, it's so stupid. They're literally scoring for nothing, and then you get the snitch, and then you just
Because you can't
Yeah.
actually see it. It's so hard to see.
It's just stupid.
Why Harry has
Stupid game.
glasses.
Exactly.
So you think you could get the
Unfair
golden
advantage.
snitch, Travis? You just think you're fucking
Yeah,
seeker?
Travis would
That-
so be a beater. He'd
Oh,
be
yeah.
getting
First
beat
of
on.
all, what does that have anything to do with my conversation about the rules of Quidditch?
Because you're like, it's such a stupid sport. You just have to get a gold ball, but it's like so much harder than that. You
No,
think
I'm
it
not
could be-
saying
Travis
it's
watched
easy. I'm
sports,
saying
and he's
there's
like, these
literally-
guys are so unathletic. Like, I could totally think
No,
these guys
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's 2 teams, and they're literally just shooting and they're scoring, but it doesn't matter at all because when you get the snitch, it's
does
worth like
matter.
5,000 points, and the game's just over. So really, it's just about the fucking snitch. So you're
Dude.
wasting so much time. The entire it makes 0 sense. 0
There's
sense.
been multiple times that like it's literally crunch time. They're about to win, and then of course our chosen one gets the snitch right before the other team actually gets to the score limit. So
Yeah,
if
that's
they didn't
cool,
have the
Yeah,
chosen
but it's
one,
like the
That's
equivalent,
cool.
like, oh, baseball allows you to, get like a one man like gets to base 1, then another
yeah?
guy goes up, batters up,
Oh,
and
yeah?
then hits, then he gets to base 2.
Yeah?
But he gets those points. Then all of
Is
a
there
sudden,
one
if
ball?
there's-
Is there a golden ball? You can
that's
hit and
the
get like
home
10,000
run.
home
That's
runs?
the home
No.
run. If he hits a home run, then everyone on
No.
one
Dude,
base,
the
2
game's
base,
not
3
over
base,
there,
all
Taylor.
Yeah.
get points
The
though.
game just automatically over. It doesn't matter. The rules are dumb. They're dumb.
How does
We'll
Emily
do when we
feel
get to the
about it? Does Emily-
retrospective.
What
does
Harry
about
Emily
Potter.
hate
hold on,
Quidditch?
hold on. What about in the like fighting? If someone gets knocked out, the fight's over. But there's also a point system, so you could compare that to Quidditch.
Okay, so there's a fight system, but
Ooh,
no.
you
Here's the
got
thing,
'em.
because the
Yeah.
the punches still matter because the punches could lead to the guy getting fatigued and knocked out. The snitch is its own little separate thing on the side, and there's only the seekers that are supposed to be after,
Yeah, but the
right? So
Seekers
there
are
you go.
getting fatigued. The Seekers
It
could
sucks
get
because-
attacked by the beaters, though. If the Seekers get attacked by the beaters and knocked out, then no one's going for the snitch on their team, right?
Let's go! Let's go!
Preemptive
It sucks
victory.
'cause Travis is almost like winning me over in his argument here. I'm like starting to think about it. I'm like,
we
wait
need
a
a
minute,
flash warning.
what is like?
Just if Travis is gonna keep doing that, we need a flash warning. You're gonna give someone a seizure.
I did stop it.
Because like, what's Harry doing? Like, while he can't see the golden
in the
snitch.
movies, he just sits there. Like, okay, if you remember in, I think it's Philosopher's Stone, like he just sits there and he sees his partners and teammates getting beaten up. He sees Oliver Wood just get taken the fuck out, and Harry's just like, oh, and he's just sitting there doing fuck all.
I miss my parents. I miss them so much.
Just checking out Ginny. Like, come on, slime weasel. Anyways, Travis
Haven't
won me
been
over.
there yet. Come on, Kirkland.
Fanboy Clay says, I have to agree, Taylor. EA had a Quidditch game for GameCube back in 2003, 2004. I think, really? If they
Damn.
did,
I'm
this is a
Googling
24-hour
this.
stream game we're going to have to find.
Yeah. I
Oh,
didn't know
yeah,
that.
pull it up. I'm going to kick Taylor's ass in Quidditch. But yeah, it's like in football, if the person came out and kicked the field goal, it was worth the whole game. Like, that's what it would be worth. It's so stupid. The rules make zero sense. But is there a game, Taylor?
Quidditch World Cup. Well, this is on like everything. I'm popping it into the
I
chat.
think I
so you can
actually
see
remember
it.
that game. I think I remember seeing
Okay,
it on
thank
PC.
you, Clay. I think we're gonna have to. What you're putting in the chat. I think we're gonna have to get this for the next charity stream.
On GameCube,
Oh my god,
PS2.
is that supposed to be Draco behind him? Oh my god!
It looks
God.
jacked.
I so remember this game.
Yeah,
A buddy
I
of mine
do
had it on
too.
PC.
Oh, that's exciting. Well, mark that down. We're so buying that game for the stream next
Thank
year.
you, Clay.
100%. Yeah, thank you, Fanboy Clay. Let's see. Oh, and then well, Emily, get out of here. Is Travis the Muggle complaining about Quidditch again? You're not
Yes.
supposed to-
Yes,
you're supposed
yes,
to be a
Emily.
vet, you know? Whatever. No, and Kirkland can say yes, but he's starting to agree with me.
Yeah,
you know
but
what?
I'm wavering. I'm weak-willed. Come on, I get convinced easily.
Emily's just salty that the writer of these books is a terrible fucking person now, you know? So everything she created has like a little salt on it. You know why? Because JK sucks. But
Separate the source material from.
separate the bitch from the work. Yeah, okay.
There you go.
Yeah, so anything else on Harry Potter, Quidditch?
There's
Hogwarts?
one left in stock on Amazon right now for
How
this game.
much?
Just so you
How
know.
much is
Probably
it?
$200.
$25.
25
That's it?
bucks? That's
It
a
says pay
steal.
$35 and then $10 off with the Amazon gift card, so $35.
That's a steal.
And then it's
You
on
said-
Game Boy Advance as well.
That's
for
the
$0.
GameCube edition, Kirkland.
Emily
That's the
says,
PC version that I'm looking at.
PC version.
left in
PCs
stock.
don't even have disk drives anymore, so you have to like manually put one in. So that's kind of
Emily says she can hear me through the wall. Yeah, it's probably just like the old times because everyone doesn't know this, but how we met is she stalked me since like kindergarten. Like she saw me as like this fine young fellow, and she just watched me for years, and like she like totally gone girled me, everything like that. And
You were
also-
unattractive. Come on, I don't buy that for a
It was my
fact.
charisma though. She just saw the charisma.
What about your uniqueness, nerve, and talent?
She was just a chubby chaser, you know. So
A
but,
chubby chaser.
yeah.
More cushion for the pushing. You know what I mean?
Of
I
course,
think
and then
that's the
lost
bush, Kirkland.
No, that's never been a thing.
Cushion for
More-
the cushion for the pushing. That's the bush.
Oh, no! Oh my God! No,
what?
Taylor. It means someone has a big ass.
No, it's not.
Yes.
No,
Yes. No one's ever said,
Yes,
"Oh, that
it
guy had a big
is.
bush."
Yes,
you
it
know,
is.
it's
more
for a
cushion
it's
for
for
the
a bush.
pushing.
Yeah, it's a bush because the bush is a cushion.
Oh no!
Oh no,
Oh,
that's
no.
not true.
100%. People got a big
chime in.
bush and it's a cushion.
No, it's butt.
Yeah.
When is this a thing? When is this a thing?
That's so gross. Why is your bush so big? Oh, so when you ride me, you just like.
You can just bounce off. You're buoyant.
Where were you looking at that? Because I can only see it as $45.
I
I'm
was wondering
glad
what
you're
Jessica
talking
was
about the
looking at.
game.
Yeah, I can't find this guy's bush. Oh, yeah.
It's
so
because I should be looking at his ass because it's not bush.
There you go, Taylor. And even then, I can't believe you thought that. Oh yeah, that guy's a big bush. More cushion for the pushing. You know what I mean? Like no,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
about having a
man.
big ass.
Yeah, can you guys
Oh, I was
imagine?
worried what you were gonna show us.
Just Bush.
Oh.
That quality of image is just beautiful.
Fanboy Clay just says no, Taylor. So yeah, you're wrong on this one again, Taylor. Your alien race didn't teach you this before you went to our planet. So okay, Jessica, if you want to leave now, we're gonna talk about some Star Wars. So
I am because I have to work in the morning. So I'm going to take off now because I know you guys will be here for way longer than
Tell
I.
Wanda.
Tawanda, is that?
We're at least time restricted. We have to get off at midnight so we can watch WandaVision.
Oh yeah, we have to do that.
So,
Oh.
anyway, okay. Have fun with Star Wars, guys.
Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you for
Jessica.
joining.
Talk to you guys later.
Salut.
Taylor's freaking out because he has
We
to
didn't
read.
do it.
Yeah, I just remembered I gotta do this shit. Oh man.
I'm about to do an ad break, Kirkland. So while Taylor is figuring this out, I'm gonna. Oh, Taylor's screen, is it really wonky on your screen there, Kirkland? Taylor changed all colors on mine.
Oh, probably because Jessica left. Yeah, he's fixing it. Oh, yeah, no, I see. That is weird.
He's weird. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna throw to our last ad break, and then we're gonna talk about Lucasfilm Games is back, and yeah, they've made some exciting announcements so far. So stay tuned, and we will be right back.
Goodbye.
Not goodbye. We're not going anywhere. It just
For the time being.
Oh, I forgot to write down the second ad break, so I don't know where that is. So fun, Travis. I'll just seep through that later. But yeah, so Lucasfilm Games is back. So obviously for years they have signed an exclusivity deal with EA, and that gave us the Battlefronts, that gave us Squadrons, that gave Jedi Fallen Order. But now that deal I think is coming up in 2023. But even then, they're just going out the yin yang because I don't know if it is over, what the deal is.
They did confirm that they still are making Star Wars games. They put out a
Lucasfilm confirmed they're still making Star Wars games.
EA confirmed that they're still making Star Wars games.
I know they did, but I mean, like the exclusivity deal, I think is over.
Yes.
I don't know how that goes, but so they did say, yeah, they're making some. No one's going to care about them now. But then to start off, before we get super excited for Star Wars, even Lucasfilm, they make more than just Star Wars. They announced with what is it, Machine Works? Who's the people that did Wolfenstein? I can't remember, but they are doing Indiana Jones at Bethesda over there. Kirkland, I'll start with you because you threw shade to it right away. You're like, oh, I got Uncharted. I don't need this, blah, blah. But like, you're an indie guy, so you say that. But I feel like if it's a great game like Uncharted, they could tie you in like last minute.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, I'm weak-willed. I'm all talk until the moment gets down to it. But yeah, like especially looking back to those Uncharted games, I always saw those as like an Indiana Jones type game. I've had friends that made the arguments that they thought it was stupid because they're like, oh, it's just ripping off Indiana Jones. I disagree with them. I think it is its own thing. It's definitely, running on those lines. He's like a treasure hunter that's also like a historian. We've seen that in so many different, like, I don't know, just
listeners. That's not what he was putting in our personal chat, though. He was
very different.
Yeah.
Well, I was getting there. Let me get aggressive. Yeah. So the thing with any type of Bethesda product, though, I feel like they've lost a lot of like goodwill with me over the years. I don't want to shit on all their games because, I mean, like, Skyrim is probably one of my most played games of all time, and I love the Elder Scrolls series. I love that universe and everything that brings. I think it's amazing, but with, like, the Fallout 76 stuff that came out, and the fact that they're like, on an Xbox-only thing now, that definitely limits just, like, my ease of access to their games now. I'm not saying that's not accessible because obviously there's stuff like Games Pass that you can access on PC. It doesn't only have to be on an Xbox. Did Bethesda, that whole deal, did they state that it's only an Xbox thing, or is it
not
possible?
known yet?
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was going to ask you too. What do you think do you think it will go? Do you think it'll be an Xbox exclusive? Or you think that's one they'll put out there for everybody?
I think it would. I mean, it's still weird to me, like the whole Bethesda being only an Xbox thing. I think
Hasn't set in yet. It's like I kind of
Yeah.
forgot about
Yeah.
that
No,
when
100%.
Indiana Jones was announced and I saw the comments. I'm like, Xbox exclusive. I'm like, right? They fucking just bought Bethesda. Like,
Yeah,
they pulled a
that's
Disney.
yeah, that's insane. It's so weird to me too because I feel like just the aesthetic of Bethesda games, it just doesn't fit Indiana Jones for me. I think of games like Elder Scrolls that have, very buggy engines. It's a certain just style to, obviously it'd be a completely different engine, all that stuff. But again, think of something like Dishonored. Like I love that game, I love that aesthetic, but it just seems very cartoony and not real, or yeah, like not real world like I feel Indiana Jones would be, where it's almost like an Uncharted, where it feels very realistic, and it's like a AAA title where it feels I don't know, just really polished and well done. And I feel like again, I don't want to shit on Bethesda, but like even when Fallout 4 came out, I remember you, Travis, were mentioning like it just didn't feel like a next gen game. It, it there's just something about the aesthetic and the art style and stuff and the graphics, and I don't know. It's hard to say. This is all talk for me. Obviously, I have nothing to base it on. But this is just my general feelings on it. I see your hand, Travis Snell of the Geekverse podcast.
I'm just looking to prove my quality.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just a big unknown for me. Like I've already mentioned, though, I can sway. I can one good trailer will probably win me over, and then I'll, be in line to get an Xbox. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I was gonna say because when Bethesda and I have a very complicated relationship because I win this podcast with you, Dilmas, and Briggs, who just fucking blew Bethesda almost any chance we got back in 2015 when they were king shit. And I was always like, I don't know. And even with their conscience, I was like, I don't know. And now, like, I still, when I see that name, I still go, I don't know if I think of quality, but I think of must watch or I'm interested. So the fact
chance
that
for them to show their quality.
Yeah, this is a chance for them. This is a big chance. But like, so when I saw it, I'm like, okay, instantly I go, okay, this is a big time developer doing this. But then I thought about it's like, okay, Fallout, Skyrim, and even the people that are making it's the same team behind Wolfenstein. I don't see Wolfenstein and think, wow, this is what they can do. But my counter is, I know, Kirklin, you never got to play it, or you haven't played it because, I don't know, you just don't want to indulge in the quality of Horizon Zero Dawn. But those are the same guys that made Killzone, that shooter for PlayStation.
Oh, yes. That was a very well-polished game. That was very beautiful.
But then they jumped over and did Horizon, a completely different game, right? Not a shooter, not first person. So that's what I'm hoping here, that this is their jump over of like, hey, as a studio, not just Bethesda, but I think it's Machine Works is the name of them, that we can jump over and say, hey, look at what we can do. And because with Indiana Jones, I think it is like not a lesser franchise nowadays. I don't think it's just the top tiers like the Marvels, the Star Wars, the DC, but it's still up there. It still has that nostalgia. So it's one that I think they do got to take a lot of time to get right. Like you want to put, it's the same way as Hogwarts to me, that legacy game. It's like you want people to feel like this is like the movies. You want to capture that spirit. I'm very interested in what they do for voice actors and stuff like that, and like the era and like even his look. Did they just go right for Harrison Ford, or did they kind of make him their own indie? But like I would love an Uncharted. I own all the games because of PlayStation Plus and everything. I've still not played them. One day I'm gonna sit down and just steamroll through them all. I hope.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I'm in the same situation. I have them all on my log.
Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping, but it is very interesting as far as exclusivity. I think they could, or I do like what people have pitched as far as on Xbox you can get on Games Pass, but if you want on PlayStation, you got to pay the $70-$80. I think that is, I never thought of that before. I think that's very smart, where if they are going to put on other consoles, yeah, you actually got to really pay for it, but on our console, you can get just with a subscription. You could have got it cheaper if you had an Xbox, and hey, I'm hyped because I got an Xbox Series X, so I'm good to go. But I don't know what but the decision might be made for you, Kirkland, because if it's just Xbox exclusive purely, then
he'll play it on PC.
Out. Yeah, right. I guess they do put it on PC. I forgot about that. That they're just all in that. So Taylor, what do you feel about this Indiana Jones game at Bethesda?
I am very excited for it. I feel like, again, if let's say like it wasn't on Game Pass, just hypothetically, and it's something that I'm walking through the store and I see it on the shelf, I would want to invest money in it and try it out, because it just looks like it just has that nostalgia for me. And again, I do hope it is an exclusive thing, and I do hope it is like free on Games Pass, because I think that would be fantastic, and why not? Again, I enjoy Uncharted. I played and beaten all the first three. I haven't played and haven't beaten the fourth one, but the trilogy of Uncharted is definitely fantastic franchise. I feel like Indiana Jones would be similar but different because it's the aesthetic that I would want to experience, and that's something that I think is valuable. Again, Uncharted has that its own aesthetic and its own kind of appeal to it to certain markets and demographics, but for me, I would definitely put Indiana Jones above that. And the last Indiana Jones game that I think they've ever done was the Lego Indiana Jones game for like Xbox 360.
Yeah.
It came with like that kung fu game too.
I feel like also like looking back at Uncharted, just that type of game, like it feels really dated if you go back and play it. I remember at the time though, like the first time I played Uncharted 2, I skipped the first one. I played it on, I think it was PS3 when it came out. I thought it was like next generation, honestly. Like at the time, I'm like, this is amazing. And if you go back now, like it feels very arcadey. Nathan Drake's just like jumping like 6 stories, and he's doing all these things like an action hero movie. And I'm like, man, I remember this like feeling very realistic at the time. And I guess that's just how used to games we are, or how spoiled we are with how good games are these days. These next gen games. But yeah. Honestly, I could see this being something like the Tomb Raider games that came out. I remember those like a lot of people were super positive, super pumped on them.
Really good games,
yeah, and like that, especially with what they did with Lara Croft and how they made her, something different than what we saw from like Angelina Jolie, like her Lara Croft. Jeez, I was getting the name lost in my head there. So I feel like they would do something similar. They would have a really good character design, but again, it's pretty easy to make that character. You don't have to make him look like Harrison Ford. It's just handsome guy with a nice hat and a whip. Like it's really easy to just have that action hero looking guy.
So I got something to throw out. Clay, who's still with us. I like Clay, fanboy Clay. Check out Ranger Alliance. Go follow him on Twitter. Does a bunch of stuff for podcasting. He has fucking like 10 shows. You're like me in 2015, Clay. I have lots of respect for you. Have a couple kids, and then you'll see it's kind of tough. But I love that he's sitting here with us with this journey, trying to get to WandaVision. Because it's I like this. We're having fun. We're literally just talking.
We are just chilling. It's like a midnight countdown, really.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. We should do this more often in the future. He posted something which I thought was very interesting. Is there a chance this is first person?
No.
I would say no. Yeah,
that was you guys would say I agree with you, but if they were to come out and say it was, my hype would be dead on arrival. Because first of all, you already know, like, I do not. That's one of the main reasons I didn't get Cyberpunk. I don't like first-person games in general, but I feel like that is a game that needs to be in my opinion, needs to be third person to feel like the Uncharted, feel like you said, Lara Croft. If it was first person, I just feel like the dynamics, it would just, because I feel like Indiana Jones, you want to feel like God of War, where God of War had a movie-like quality, where it's like, I could see this on the big screen. You need to do that with an Indiana Jones game, in my opinion. And first person, because I guarantee you if they did it, you could see the pitch. Like, we want you to feel like Indy. We wanted you, like, when you look back and see the boulder, you see the boulder from your eyes. Like, I could see the pitch already. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, especially because this company is only made, not Bethesda, but like MachineWorks has just done first-person games. But I'm hoping this is them showing we have another tool in our arsenal.
If they want to do that, then they can leave that for the VR head honchos or whatever's in mind there. But in this case, no, this is something that you want to sell that cinematic quality to Indiana Jones. That's what it is. And if I want to be Indiana Jones, playing it where I'm like, the hands are like this and I've got the whip in my one hand, I can like swap gear to like the gun in this hand, and it's like
it's like super clunky.
Yeah,
like that surgery game we played on the stream.
Oh yeah, like that's
Your
not
like rotating.
That's not
way.
the game for me. I need to be third person.
I could definitely see, like an Indiana Jones experience that comes out with VR, where they really polish it out, where it all comes down to you like having to do the old idle swap, right? Like do that motion.
You have to close your eyes when they open up the Ark to not get killed by just like 10-minute gameplay of just
Enough
eyes
with
closed.
This VR. You're not doing the VR thing, Taylor.
But just think of like what Indy does, right? Like just swinging like across a ledge with his lasso. Like I just feel like, or not his lasso, his whip. Sorry. Like I feel like that would just be really disorienting, like in first person.
Yeah. And Clay said third person can be a bit clunky. every game can be clunky, like 100%. But I just think I don't even know clunk. I don't think it's that. Because if you were to ask me, I imagine the studio would probably make a better first-person game than a third-person game with their experience. But it's just the feel, and I think maybe that's what they're talking about too. Not the feel of it actually being clean, just the feel of being indie and just like seeing those hands. It would. I don't. Oh shit.
He's token up over there.
I feel like
I'm having some ginger ale and it hit me big time.
Travis, your comment though of like it has to feel like a cinematic game. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's the same feel with Uncharted though, right? Like when you watch those cutscenes, like they hid their loading screens in the cutscenes, and it was done really well, and it felt like a cinematic. Where I feel like if you have a cinematic like that, and then all of a sudden it jumps to inside of Indy's head, and then you get back to Taylor and his hands.
Yeah.
I feel like that would just be a weird situation. So I feel like I'm like 90% confident it'll go third person. I don't know what Taylor's doing. Maybe he's looking for his lasso.
I was going to ask you, what do you think he's doing right now? For the listeners, he just got up and he's like bent over, like on the ground. Now, where were you, Taylor?
What are you guys
What's
talking
happening
about?
to his camera? Like, do you see this, Travis? How it's like
his camera's completely fucked up.
On the stream, it's fine. It's not fucked up at all.
Yeah, this happened to us the other night when we recorded something. It's just for him. But what were you doing, Taylor?
What do you mean?
You were just on the ground, like bent over, touching something.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you doing?
Oh, I was turning the heater on the baseboard.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
It's cold in here.
Okay, so we're going to some Star Wars now. Taylor, you can hit that record button for your little cutout there. So, Lucasfilm announced that we're going to be making. Well, not us.
We're making big news.
Oh man, if they came to us as a group and they pitched us like what, like let's say we'll do the Kevin Feige thing, and this, we'll start right now because this video is going to be titled, what Star Wars games do we want? I'm gonna play the bitch card and be like, I try to convince you guys like we got to get them to make Knights of the Republic 3. Like that's all obviously like that's my go-to. But let's leave that aside because we're probably gonna talk about that. Like, what is the game you would or we could pitch to Lucasfilm? Like, this is what you should do with Star Wars. Like, what is the dream game? Kirklin, go.
I was gonna lean into the Sith centric idea. I know we already got something similar with like the Force Unleashed, but I feel like you could do a really good like rich story driven. Again, it is pretty much like what we've already seen in Star Wars games. If you think Force Unleashed, what's the other one? Fallen Order that just came out. Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah, like I feel like that but like very Sith centric. Honestly, like barely even comment on like Jedi or stuff like this. I'm thinking like thousands of years before the events of the movies and stuff. Again, I'm super biased because that's just like my favorite era of Star Wars. Those are pretty much all the books I've read are kind of around that era. So that's definitely what I would be leaning into. Again, it might be hard to market because it's just kind of a niche category. They'd probably be really wanting to get the most money out of it. And in order to get that, you want to see the good guys, you want to see the Jedi and stuff like that. But that's what I would want.
I don't know if it's niche. I don't know if Sith is niche. It's just
I'm just thinking like thousands of years ago, like the old Sith, like Darth Bane era and stuff like that. It's talked about.
But KOTOR was like those were successful games though, right?
Yeah, that's a good
I think
point.
as long as you make the game good, I think I tweeted about this months ago, and I just feel like it's the obvious play. I'm not even talking about Knights of the Republic 3 because I do want that. I want them so badly to come out, or just a remake of that game or something like that, because I just feel like that game is just right for potential. And then we'll talk about the game they are announced that they're making, and maybe this is what the Ubisoft game is going to be. I don't know how no one is making a Mandalorian game or a game where you are Boba Fett, Mando, or a Mandalorian just being an assassin, a bounty hunter, collecting missions. Because we've talked about so much how the show already feels like a video game come to life. And imagine now it's that in a game, but it's in your hands. Hopefully not first person. You're not in the helmet, but like it's in your hands now, and you're doing these missions. Yeah. Trying to start your jetpack. I can't reach. My arms are too small. But like, I feel like a Mandalorian game is just prime for the taking right now. That would be my pitch as far as like what would be the most successful. And honestly, I think that'd be fun to play. I'd like that. And
like a Western, like a Red Dead Redemption 2 feeling, but like space. So yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah. Man, they'll go to new places, old places, things like that. Your coven, everything like that. Taylor, what about you?
Again, that's what Star Wars 1313 was aspiring to be, right? You get your Mandalorian armor and that, and it was just going to be That kind of
What is this? Sorry.
Star Wars 1313. That was that game that they canceled.
Oh, right.
Around
I
the
remember that.
buyout time
Yeah.
period. Yeah. So for my perfect like game that I would want to see for Star Wars, like I have two. Like
You already got your squadrons.
I already got my squadron, so I'm set there. So for me, one that I definitely want is some form of Star Wars RTS game. I think like because again I have clocked
Yes.
days of my life at this point total into Star Wars Empire at War. It's just a game that yeah, it's an older one, but it's just a game again that I can't get enough of. I still play it to this day. I love having literally a map of all like 55 Star Wars planets, and you basically can do your ground battles, your space battles. You can build a fleet.
That's hype.
I've had fleets of like 100 Star Destroyers, and I've had battles last for like 3 hours. Like when I was younger, it's endless. Where you have like the consortium pirates dishing out capital ships, and you have the rebellion dishing out all these ships too, and you just have like blockades of Star Destroyers going to town. Like so, I've had so many scenarios that I've played out. And again, you're blowing up planets with the Death Star. Like you're running a campaign and you're trying to fight off corruption from the pirates, and then you're moving the Death Star, blowing up all the planets, and all of a sudden you look back and the rebellion just blew up your Death Star, which blew up the planet at the same time. Like it's just utter chaos, and like it's awesome. But
What is that on? We should play it for the stream next year.
it's on PC, unfortunately. I don't know.
I was just gonna say, Taylor, I'm gonna pull this up. Can you
Could
play
you find
like,
a way?
together
I guess.
online?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can play together.
Might have to pick this up. I love RTS games.
It's
Yeah, but
so
I'm
good.
as we've talked about this cast multiple times, unfortunately, fucking Xbox doesn't support it, like Battlefield Middle Earth. I'm so down when they take IP and they make real-time strategies because I like those games enough, but I think when there's a IP like coding or skin on it, it just gets me so invested so much because it's like instead of like strong soldier #1, it's like the Nazgul leader. It's like yeah, I want to get the fucking Nazgul leader. I want a Witch King riding around the bat and like the stars. That'd be so sick, especially now with, like the Clone Wars, like the animated side, the new movies, the sequel trilogy, Mando. Like there's so many facets of characters you could pull from, and like
oh yeah, that's something like I've dabbled a little bit in because like Empire at War, like a lot of Star Wars fans, they've made mods, so I've downloaded like a Thrawn mod for it, and it had like all the people, like they go in depth with what they've done with the game. So they give like graphical reworks, they had new ships, new units, and Thrawn
nudie mods for the Twi'leks.
Thrawn is in the base game of Forces of Corruption, so that again was another reason why I fell in love with that game. But it's so good. They need more RTS games for Star Wars. My second pick would
But hang on, Taylor won't let us play on the stream. You know why, Kirkland? Because he won't move his fucking PC out of the living room into the living room.
No, I can
know?
still set it up fine. Like I just ran an HDMI cord from my PC to the TV, so it'd be all good.
But wouldn't you be sitting in the other room playing?
No. No, just pop the keyboard and mouse into the living room, and then you're good to go.
All right. We'll figure it out. We should figure that out in those wee hours. You know, I'd be down to. So your second game.
Second game is Republic Commandos 2. Republic Commando was fucking amazing.
So because I was gonna wait for that about Force Unleashed. Have you seen some of these like Star Wars C-tier scoopers talk about the other games that have been talked about?
I have, but I don't know how. It's just rumors in the air, and people are all getting their giddy pants on. So,
but one of these C-tier scoopers months ago, because he tweeted this out, he said that he did hear conversations about them talking with Ubisoft, and he was right. Like obviously, literally, me and Taylor can make up a scoop and put it out there, and if it's right, we can say, see, look, I just told you. That's pretty much what I do with Travis was right. I make a fucking prediction, and that's right. See, I told you, but I have no fucking idea. I'm just like guessing. I'm making an educated guess, but he did get that right, so we'll give him that credit. People were talking. There's 3 rumors going around. There's one that the Battlefront cast, the current one, are all talking about a project they're working on together. I don't think that's the Ubisoft game. Then there was talking about Republic Commando, some sort of continuation remake or something like that, and then something also tied to Force Unleashed as well. Same thing, not an idea if it was a remake, stuff like that. I love that the games you guys shout out get talked about, but no one's fucking talking about Knights of the Republic. You know, the game that so many people say is one of the biggest RPGs of all time, like place in the chat. Even just give me a 1 and 2 remastered or a remake. That's fine. Like, why have we not even got that? I don't fucking get it. This game. Like,
didn't they remaster them for mobile? You can get remastered KOTOR.
Fuck mobile. I'm gonna play it on my. I'm gonna play KOTOR on my fucking phone here. Are you kidding me? God damn! I want that on my Xbox Series X. I don't even care if it's exclusive. I just want that plugging away. But anyway, so Republic Commando was some of those rumors, so you might get your wish if these kind of C tiers are like onto something.
I hope so, because like that game had so many elements of horror like involved with it. I don't know if you guys have actually like played it all the way through. It's like as a shooter game, like it's great how it starts off like just war torn and all that stuff, and then like commanding your squad and then facing off against the super battle droids for the first time is terrifying, and then when you go up against like Trandosians, it's even better. Like it's horror, and again, like the game ends like on Kashyyyk, I believe, on a huge cliffhanger, and it's just
Oh no.
it's awesome. Like, and they never followed up with that. It's just like, no, one and done, and that was it. And this is a game that came on the original Xbox, so the whole time period through 360, and then I guess they went through changes obviously after they had the one come out, but it's just baffles me. Baffles me. And it's funny because all these Star Wars games were exclusive back then on Xbox. And I guess PC too. Republic Commando was on PC as well. I don't think it was on PlayStation, but again, it's interesting to see what Xbox is going to try and do, because I feel like Xbox has always been a big advocate for these Star Wars titles, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're like trying to like seep their way in. They got laughed at by Nintendo when they tried to buy them, but they might try to buy some stuff from Disney for Star Wars. So
It's tough with that. Like, that's tough. Like, will Disney make an exclusivity deal? Because they haven't. Spider-Man does, but that's different because that's Sony Spider-Man, right? So they haven't done anything like that. I don't see it unless they do throw a lot of money, and I mean a lot of money, to make it worth their while. So they don't, like, because that means that, especially right now, if you look at what the stats for like PS5 outsold Xbox Series X like 1/4 or something. So like for every 4 PlayStation the Xbox sells, not the greatest. I think it's even maybe less than that. But so that's them cutting off a huge market. If they were to say no PlayStation 5, just Xbox and PC, tons of people not being able to play it or buy it. So that's where Xbox would have to give them just a lot of money, and maybe, but I think it'd have to be the right title or like some partnership. But I don't foresee that yet. I could foresee maybe one. It's hard for me foreseeing one game, but that's the most I could see. Never like we've made a deal with them, and I don't think we will. I think it will. I think they will keep all the games everywhere. But you never know. Like, look at Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I know it's smaller, but that was just a Switch exclusive. And I thought by now we would have heard like it's coming to Xbox and PS5 eventually, but it still hasn't. There's still been no word on Marvel Alliance. So it can happen. It's just, I don't know. What do you think about that, Kirklin? Exclusivity deal with even Sony. Even maybe let's say they try to make a play. Say, hey, we just want a Star Wars game just for us. You know?
Yeah, I mean it's tough because like what was the EA contract with Disney? It's not still on, right? Because they had like the rights to Star Wars.
I think, like Taylor said, they have a contract with them that goes to 2023, but that's to make games. I think they had an exclusivity contract that like came up, or it's about. It must have came up because that's why you're hearing these announcements. So I think maybe after 2020, the exclusivity ran out, and that's why you see Bethesda's making a game, Ubisoft's making a game, stuff like that. But they still are making games with them. Like Jedi Fallen Order 2 is definitely happening, I would assume.
Yeah.
And like we'll talk about that after, Taylor. But like, I know you always say no to me, but it's just like, what else is that Battlefront cast working on then? You know, like
well,
there's always still a
I was
chance to get
saying
one more
no
game.
to the Battlefront 3 being like the next, like right next year, but I do think Battlefront 3 is coming.
I feel like, I'm gonna have to get some receipts on you. I feel like you've always told me it's not coming now. Now I feel like you're retroactively doing some history changing. No, Taylor would never. But Kirk, what do you think about that? Some exclusive deal with one of the companies.
I feel like they'd want to stay neutral, honestly. Yeah, like I feel like that's where I lean, like the most. I almost said the strongly on. It's definitely not a word. Definitely get into the wee hours here, but I feel like that's definitely where I'm feeling the most confident.
He was gonna
at
do
least.
it again.
There you go. I had the word pop in my head. I think that would be my most confident pick. I don't know, just something about Disney. I feel like they want to stay neutral. They want to be able to push all this product out. But again, you know, money talks. If someone's throwing down big wad of dough, Disney might maybe they'll want that. Who knows?
Yeah. So what do we think what do you guys I'll throw it to Taylor first because he's Mr. Ubisoft. You must have been so excited when they made this announcement because this is just right up your alley. And if you're talking about people that are making RPGs constantly, this is the way. So not much. I didn't even mean to say this is the way, but they they have not announced any specifics, not time, anything like that. Just hey, we're making an open RPG game with Ubisoft, which has not happened. Am I right in saying it hasn't happened since KOTOR, like an RPG open world game? Because like Jedi Fallen Order has like open world elements, but it's still like pretty linear as far as how you tell a story. You can travel, but it's not. Like I said, I think it's more elements like the skill tree. You can travel around everywhere in the world, but it's not like you could just like KOTOR. You could literally, you're on Tatooine, you go everywhere now. There's a bunch of side missions. Like, go ahead. Fuck, I just want to play KOTOR so bad. But
download it on your phone.
Does it work? Well, no. Do you know if even does it work on Xbox Series X? Do you know, like the disc?
I believe it does. I believe it's one of the backwards compatible titles, so it should. Because that's what they said. The discs all work, right? For those backwards
as my Resident
titles.
Evil remake games cry at me for not playing them anymore. Or Watch Dogs 2, which I bought. Like all these games. Like, you're gonna play KOTOR again? Well, yeah.
Yeah, I have KOTOR on my computer right now. Actually, it's already installed and everything.
But so Taylor, what do you envision for this game? What do you think is gonna go down?
Yeah, first of all, I think that Ubisoft dealing with this is fantastic. A lot of people are naysayers and all that shit, but get off your fucking high horse. Like the bugs that people, I'm serious, the bugs that people complain about, just tone it down. It's not a fucking Project Red like cyberpunk bullshit. Like this is something like they release consistent patches and they put out polished, for the most part, polished games at the start. Now you can make an argument for sure where there's been like maybe one or two. Unity is the one. That's the argument that I'm willing to allow. But that being said, we got 2 Assassin's Creed games that came out at that same time, Unity and Rogue. And Rogue was polished. It didn't have bugs or crashes or anything like that. Unity definitely had problems. But again, I didn't have any problems with Unity. And there's several other titles that are really good that they've done. No crashes on launch and all that stuff. And again, consistent tech support. They release updates, all that jazz. When you look at the company doing this that did The Division. Oh yeah, I know, the no face glitch. Oh boy. So you have the.
You tell me Luke Skywalker's gonna look like that?
Oh,
that almost looks just as bad as the way he looked in Mandalorian finale.
Almost. So
almost.
You have you have where was I going with that? You have the company that's done The Division. And they've also done Assassin's Creed Revelations. And Revelations was a fantastic game. I guess for me, it was on the lower end of the Ezio trilogy, but it was a fantastic game, really well executed.
It's pretty good.
Now you have The Division, which is interesting because The Division 1 I thought was fantastic. I've got a lot of good memories with that game, and it was really, really, really just awesome for what they did. It was fantastic. Division 2... I don't know what went wrong. Like they literally put it out for like sale for $1 on the Xbox Marketplace like last year, and I bought it for $1, and it was crazy. It was like a 24-hour sale, and so I picked it up for $1, and I have it installed, but I haven't dived into it yet. Again, I don't know what went wrong with that. I think more people play the first one.
Well, then you can't personally talk. I'm sure you would like it because you seem to give a lot more benefit of the doubt for people.
I haven't gone into the Division 2 yet, so I don't have much to speak on that. Again, I haven't had a pull to really get into it. I haven't seen anything to really pull me in. Like when I think of Division, I end up thinking of Division 1 just for everything that they've done with that game and the expansions and everything. It's awesome. So when people say like, oh, they did the Division, yada yada yada, like, and it makes them antsy, like, just like get off your fucking high horse. The Division 1 was a really, really good game for what they accomplished. So when you take that team and you have them helm an open world game, open world RPG, 110%. You have a team that's worked on an Assassin's Creed title. You have a team that's worked on a new IP like The Division. So I have 100% confidence in them that they're going to dish out something that's going to be awesome. And I don't think it's going to be Jedi related. I think it's going to be something that's like Pirates or Marauders or something like that. And again, I am excited to see the time period they go with. I just remember when they were doing interviews and discussions with Fallen Order, and the team went in. I don't think I'm trying to remember which side was which, because I think the EA team wanted to do lightsabers and stuff, but I think the Disney like game story people wanted to do like smugglers or something, didn't they? I think that's how it went. And I think the EA team had to like maybe I'm getting it reversed. One side was like heavy lightsaber and the other side was like, oh, we want to do it like this, and they had to push for them to do a Jedi lightsaber story for the game. So I'm hoping that
Well, you might be referring to Amy Hennig's game, the girl, or sorry, not the girl, the woman that made Uncharted. She was making like a smuggler type game, and I think the story was kind of they wanted it to be a bit more Jedi focused. I don't know if that's EA or Disney or kind of a combo, but that was something where they're like, no, we kind of need more Jedi. And I don't disagree with that as far as when they were starting to make the games. I still think they should have still done that and just made another game on top of that. But I could see them wanting a Jedi game as one of their first games, like, and one of their first, but it's like, took a few years to do. So with you and the pushback and everything like that, it's tough because I like Ubisoft, but I think you're right that people do shit on them too much, but I think then you're also a little hyperbolic. But I don't know, and this is what I'll throw to Kirklin. I don't know if Ubisoft, they get me way more excited than EA. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're the name. Like when I see Bethesda, even though they have their problems, I go, well, they've made some of the best games of all time. Now, Ubisoft has arguably, you could say that with some of the Assassin's Creed games, but I still think when you look at like the top 50 games of all time, I don't know if any of these Assassin's Creed games are in there, where I know Bethesda has a couple of games in there, a couple at least. So that's where it's just like, I see the argument. That's where I'm excited because I'm just excited it's just not EA, and it's someone that I do think that is, if you're looking for an RPG, if you're looking for an open world RPG and you don't want to get one of the big boys, like a Rockstar, like a Naughty Dog, someone like that, or like not even, they wouldn't make an open world RPG, but I mean like if you don't want to go to Insomniac, someone like that, if you don't want to go to one of these people, who the fuck made God of War, but those group of people, they are the best next one, but I think that's where people maybe worry as far as they're not going for the best, they're going because. Other than that Assassin's Creed game a few years ago, it was what, Origins, and what was the other one too?
Odyssey.
They got lots of praise for. They haven't had that like really big breakout game, so I feel like that where some people are worried that they feel like they're maybe settling. They're going for like the second best option in RPG because it might be cheaper or easier, and that might not be the case. But maybe it's like they're not doing like what Sony did with Spider-Man and going for Insomniac, which is big company, not a big company, but like it sucks because Infamous wasn't even the biggest game, but I just feel like Insomniac got. I think people, when Spider-Man was paired with Insomniac, even though they had just made the not infamous, what other game? Why am I fucking up now? Ratchet and Clank. Who is the other developer? I'm messing up because
Santa Monica is God of War.
Who can you look up who did Infamous for me, because that's who everyone thought was doing Spider-Man for a while, and then ended up being Insomniac, but I can't remember who did.
It's just a Sony Computer Entertainment.
Does it say on there?
Well, thanks. Tell me no. Well,
Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch.
It is Sucker Punch. Okay, yeah, Naughty Dog. So everyone thought it was doing that. Where Insomniac, they did Ratchet Clank, a few things, but I feel like there's a bit more excitement there. But I don't know, Kurt, what do you feel about like Ubisoft and like obviously your personal opinions, but like because I've seen that before of like, oh, it's just Ubisoft. But I think that for me, it's that where it's like they're not the A tier. We always talk about the A tiers, the Rockstars, the Naughty Dogs, stuff like that. They're not that, and I think that's what people in Star Wars were hoping. But I think Ubisoft is still a really good choice.
I think the thing with Ubisoft is they definitely get like more flack than they probably deserve. They definitely make a lot of top quality games. I've played tons of their games. I've played tons of Far Cry. I've played so much Assassin's Creed games. What's that other one? Ghost Recon. Like those games. Like I really like their products. I feel like the thing with Ubisoft is, again, a lot of their games are different. I mean, most of their games are like those open world RPGs and stuff like that. So it definitely is a good fit there. I feel like there's just like a certain standard that Ubisoft has that I've just come to expect. I'm not expecting them to have something like God of War, where I'm like, wow, like this is literally game of the year. Like this is a game-changing game.
Yeah.
But that's also not to say that it's like like you said, Travis, like it's not EA where I'm like, okay, like where's this hidden microtransactions gonna be in here? They're buggy ass games that they just keep re-releasing rosters and stuff like that. Again, that's kind of niche to sports games. I have some beef of my own with them and their sports games, but I want to say I'm positive though, like with the pairing. I think it does make sense. I think it is good. I don't think this will be a game of the year contender, but I also think it will be a really rock solid game because that's just what I've come to expect with Ubisoft.
See, I hope they are like, and I know everybody hopes this, right? Like every filmmaker that makes a film like wants to be a box office hit or an Oscar film or whatnot. But like, I do hope they're striving for like a game of the year type of game. They did that with, obviously it's a different studio, but they did that with Odyssey a few years ago. Of like that got people talking and people were really excited. So I do want that to be. I want this to be their Spider-Man like 2018 game. When that did
Do you think
get
they have that though? Do you think they have that?
And I think that's where it comes up the worry, where people worry that there is a bar over there, and because they, I think it's because it's like they produce so much content over there. I think that's the other thing too that people worry is like, is this going to be, hey, all eyes are on Star Wars, let's make this great, or is we got the Star Wars IP and we can just pump more out? I don't think they're as bad as EA. I think EA was the definition of, we have the Star Wars IP, just pump out a bunch of stuff for it. They started to slow down. I haven't played Squadrons that much. I don't play on the stream, but I think the people that wanted that type of game seem to be enjoying it. Me and I still liked Jedi Fallen Order. I feel like we're in the minority of people just absolutely loved it. I think it was a good game, but I don't think the story was great, and I think that it was a buggy ass game, especially near the end. So like that's the problem. So I don't know if they have it in them, but I want them to have it in them. I want them to play it and be blown away. You know, I want them to be, you know, because like I said, I don't know, like, do you think Ubisoft has any games, if you were to make a list, or if you were to see multiple people make a list of the 50 greatest games of all time, do you think you'd see a Ubisoft game in it? Because I don't.
I don't know.
It's tough. I just
feel like it might be tough. Yeah, it might be close.
I think there would be. I think like original Prince of Persia.
Whoa. You're gonna say the original Assassin's Creed?
Original Prince of Persia. I think that was a hit. Sands of Time.
Oh, yeah, dude, Sands of Time.
I could fuck with you on that one. I'll Mac on you with that. Yeah. But yeah, no, you're right there. That's potential, but I still think it's like in the lower of the list. But yeah, I hope they pull it off, and I don't know, like, because Taylor said that he doesn't think it's Jedi related. I would tend to agree, but also like they have a lot of, I guess it's the Division people. I was gonna say, like, you know, Assassin's Creed got some swords going on and whatnot, but yeah, I could see. I'm not sure if it's a smuggler or a bounty hunter or what the deal is, but I'm excited. Clay said, when do we think we'll see the first game under Lucasfilm banner? That's tough because the Star Wars game announcement was just a bunch of logos of who's making it. Indiana Jones was just a cinematic cutscene that they could easily splice together. So when? I hate to be pessimistic, but I feel like 2020 to fall the earliest, but that's like, to me, the earliest, because that means games have to be done. Like for me, I'm thinking almost more like 2023. Maybe the Indiana Jones game sooner, but Star Wars games, unless they've made some like smaller indie ones, like this one that's a Ubisoft RPG one, I feel like you gotta, because I feel like games usually get like a whole year of cycle of promotion before they even come out nowadays. So it's like, if this is like the start of the promotion, so maybe this is it. Maybe this is the whole thing. But like, look at DC fandom. They announced Suicide Squad, and then when they show the date, it was 2 years later from the thing. I was like, wow, okay, this game still has a long ways to go. So I'm thinking like 2023 for the Star Wars games at least.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good amount of time, especially like considering what they possibly want to do with these games. Like they probably have to make a whole new engine, and like, you know, and then it gets into like all of the artwork that they have to do for it, and like I feel like it's very much at the early stages. But again, I could be completely wrong. I think your time frame though, Travis, is probably not too optimistic. What's the other word? Pessimistic, I guess. Like I feel like it's a realistic projection.
What about you, Taylor?
I think you're right. I think unless they were working in secret this whole time in 2021
illegally.
Yeah, I don't think that it's gonna be 2021 that we get a game. I think that they're just gonna keep working on what they have right now. Again, they just upgraded Fallen Order for Xbox Series X. I think next gen, like overall next gen compatibility. So it's they'll work on what they have right now, and we'll see something probably maybe at the Video Game Awards for 2021. We'll get like a trailer or something for the Ubisoft title or something like that.
Because E3 sure as fuck ain't happening again this
Yeah.
year. Like that's unfortunate, but yeah. Anything else on these Star Wars Lucasfilm games coming back? I think it's exciting to see that happening again. I hope we get that logo where it's a guy and the lightsaber get thrown through and it would come through.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah, I'd love that. Like all HD and everything now.
I got
That'd be fun.
chills. I got chills when you did
man.
that.
Yeah.
Oh.
The only thing I was going to ask, because this isn't even on the rundown today, I just want to ask you two things. One, how much more have you played Cyberpunk? And two, have you guys seen like the whole like apology video they put out yesterday?
I didn't
so
watch the
cringy.
video, but I saw it.
I haven't seen anything about that.
And two, I have not gone back and played it, but it's not because I don't like it or don't want to. Like I do plan to go to. I just end up getting wrapped up with COD again. With my time and everything that I have now, like it's hard to sit down and commit to a long story-driven video game. When I sit down and I game, it's fun to just grind out a few missions or just do like team deathmatch like crazy.
Chasing Bigfoot.
Chasing Bigfoot, yeah.
I was gonna say I have to look back at our conversation today, but I think we did have a bet that because I said before when
6 months from when I purchased the game
6 months
that
to
I would beat the main story, but you canceled the bet because you said it's bullshit.
I did. I should have kept it though because I thought it was longer than the game, but it was only like 40 hours. But still, it doesn't sound like you're playing it. But yeah, no, I just wanted to mention because they put out this video saying that they're whatever. Sorry, blah blah. And then they said that they have a bunch of patches still coming in January and then February, and then they have free DLC coming near the end or like in the middle of 2021, and then it pretty much looks like almost right when 2022 is going to start, or at least December fall. That's when they're finally going to do the next gen version. So this is such a fucking mess. Like the fact that they said like we were going to have these next gen versions, not at launch, but just with these games, the fact it's going to come out maybe almost 2 years later, then like maybe not the full 2 years calendar year, but still like it's just crazy that all this fucking stuff went down, and like the fact that like anytime you got to put out an apology video for anything is not good, and the fact that they did this whole roadmap, I'm very curious to see. And it's still crazy that PlayStation is still not selling on their store. They're still not selling, and they're just like, well, we hope to get an update on that soon. And it's just like, oh man, I'd love to see what the player base is like now, and I'd love to see just what happens because so we've seen some games make it back, but just funny to lay out this road and to be like, oh, we're working on DLC. It's like, man, I don't know if working on DLC is the right way to go right now, but hey, you do whatever works for you guys, I guess. So it's crazy.
I mean, I haven't really been following it too much. I obviously haven't played it or anything, but like from what I was hearing, like from some other people at work that have played it, like it didn't seem this bad, at least from what they're laying out. So like the fact that they're going out of their way to do these apology videos, like to me, it's just pretty cringe. And like, honestly, like it just sucks because I was a big fan. Maybe I shouldn't say was. I am a big fan of CD Projekt Red. I love The Witcher, stuff like that. And I do want to play this game eventually. But it's weird when this happens, right? Especially with how much hype was behind this game. And
oh yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Witcher 4 when that ever comes?
Is that even like, are you sure that's coming? I thought they were having like a falling out.
No, I think they've always had a falling out, but I think they can still make the games. I just being like, would you be as excited? Because they've not announced it or anything like that. I just think it's a foregone conclusion it'll happen at some point. Yeah. Like, what is your hype level now for Witcher 4 after all this? Because I feel like before this game launches, like Witcher 4, like I'm there day one, and I still might be, but it's like now it's just like, I don't know. It's very interesting.
But I think that's kind of different though, because you have something to compare it to. Like you have Witcher 3, and you're like, well, I know it can't be worse than that, right?
Yeah.
Nervous chuckle. But yeah, I would probably be a day oneer if and when that happens. I don't know. I kind of feel confident that it's an if though. Like I don't think that it's for sure thing. I don't know.
Oh, that show's blowing up. I think they'll take advantage of it.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Yeah, it's a topic for another day.
Yeah, well, we still got half an hour to WandaVision.
Oh, right.
Go
Yeah,
on
okay.
down.
Any other tidbits?
Anything else to shout out before we bring this episode to a close?
No, it's good. Almost 3-hour podcast. It's been a while since we've had news, at least since I was on.
Oh yeah, lots of news. We talk about a lot of stuff. We talk about Chris Evans, talk about Deadpool, Ray Fisher.
Controversies, yeah.
Yeah, fun times. You know, Taylor learned what cushion for the pushing meant finally.
I swear, I thought like it just makes sense.
So
like
funny.
you have a cushion, which is
No.
like hair in a bush, and you just bounce off it.
Ew.
What pillows
Yeah.
are you have at your house that feel like hair
all
inside?
pillows are made
All
of
pillows?
fabric.
Okay. Oh, fuck. All pillows feel like pubic
These
hair.
pillows are so itchy.
Yeah, they just get everywhere. Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's terrible.
Oh man, well at least this episode already provides some good bloopers for the
Oh,
2021
absolutely.
episode. I forgot to shout that out. If you're near the end here, this almost 3-hour cast, the bloopers one is up. I will shout that again during WandaVision and whatnot. But yeah, watch the video versions of those ones. I think those are always the superior ones and some good times there. And Taylor, you think Kirkland's gonna make it to WandaVision? He's looking pretty tired.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. I'm feeling great.
I don't
What are you
know
guys
if
talking
he's
about?
gonna make it. That's.
Oh, I'm so make it. Let's go. I'm
you
so
are
hyped.
gonna make it.
Oh, I'm so hyped. I feel different.
Taylor was like, let me pull, before we go, and this is fun for the listeners, I'll pull the exact conversation Taylor said, because I'm like, hey, because Taylor, I was surprised, how come you weren't even going to stay up to midnight for the first episode of WandaVision? I could understand the rest of the series, but
Because there's
especially-
2 episodes, so I wasn't feeling like that apt to it.
Kirkland's like, what? No.
2 episodes? What?
Because let me find it here, because I was like, oh, if Kirkland stays up, will you stay up? And this is us arguing about what gifts you're going to use, because Taylor was were you watching the stream one time, Kirkland, when Taylor was using the BB-8 gif on our stream?
That was just you and me. I don't think Kirkland would watch that.
I don't think so.
Okay, it was really big, and I told him just to make them a little smaller or whatnot. So let's see, where was the okay, so I'm like, if Kirkland stays up, will you? And he says, that motherfucker. No, I'm joking. He says, if Kirk does, I will. But he has to stay up. He has to commit. But then he put haha. But haha was a separate bubble. Like he felt like he was maybe being too serious.
Was it like an hour and a half later? Like he thought about the message and then he's like, haha.
Yeah. It's like when you're just starting to see someone and you're maybe having someone an argument and you say something, you're like, oh, that's too serious. I'll add a haha or LO, but it's like you're still kind of serious about. But yeah, we'll see if he makes it. But yeah, I'm so excited. We're less than half an hour away when people are listening to this. So we will end this episode. We thank you as always for everyone that tuned in. Like we said, the description is down below. That has everything for you. This was tons of fun, and we promise when you hear from us next, it'll not be boring.
Bye-bye.
Ciao for now.